to you. It's 5 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We're starting on the campaign trail this morning. President Trump spent part of his Sunday serving up hot fries at a Bucks County, Pennsylvania McDonald's. He says that was to highlight a false claim by Kamala Harris that she slung fries when she was a teenager. ABC's Perry Ruscombe has more.
Trump visiting a McDonald's, wearing an apron, working the fry station.
We got the salt on it.
Trump taking questions of the fast food chain where the average worker makes $13 to $15 an hour, dodging a question on whether he supports raising the minimum wage.
These people work hard. They're great. And I just saw something, a process that's beautiful.
The restaurant was closed to the public.
There'll be no charge. Trump is paying for it. Is that okay? 2024.
The Secret Service screening the people Trump served.
As for Vice President Kamala Harris, she hit the campaign trail in Georgia yesterday, attending church services with a pastor from California. Then starting today, she'll spend more time in battleground states.
She'll be barnstorming some of those key battleground states. She'll be with former Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney. She'll be in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and on Thursday back in Georgia with her first appearance alongside former President Barack Obama. And then she heads back to Michigan for her first event with Michelle Obama. We know those are two of the most popular figures in the Democratic Party.
ABC's Mary Alice Parks reporting. Biltmore Estate announcing its plans to reopen on November 2nd. The historic site closed to repair flooding damages following Hurricane Helene. Many of the roads were considered impassable, too. So this means that Christmas at the Biltmore is still on, featuring the estate covered in Christmas decorations from wreaths to garlands and thousands of ornaments. Market Numbers Report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Here's Chuck Sievertson.
Trading will resume after a sixth straight winning week for the major indexes, most recently on strong corporate earnings reports. What could affect stock prices this week include on housing with existing home sales Wednesday and new home sales Thursday. Also Thursday is the weekly report on first-time filings for unemployment benefits from the Labor Department. Solid economic data has boosted hopes the U.S. economy can complete a perfect escape from the worst inflation in generations without triggering a painful recession that many investors saw as nearly inevitable. Now, with the Federal Reserve cutting interest rates to keep the economy humming, optimists say stocks can rise even further. But critics are warning that stock prices look too expensive given how much faster they've climbed than corporate profits. Oil prices tumbled last week as worries eased over whether Israel will attack Iranian oil facilities in retaliation for an Iranian missile attack.
Stock futures this morning pointing just a bit downwards. Dow futures are minus 32, the NASDAQ futures losing 57, and the S&P futures are down just 7 points. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather still to come. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Moments like hearing my cat purr good morning mean a lot to me. But after being diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, or MBC, which is breast cancer that is spread to other parts of the body, they mean even more. I take Ibrance, palbociclib. Ibrance 125 milligram tablets with an aromatase inhibitor is for adults with HR-positive, HER2-negative MBC as the first hormonal-based therapy. Ask your doctor about Ibrance and visit Ibrance.com. Ibrance may cause low white blood cell counts that may lead to serious infections. Ibrance may cause severe inflammation of the lungs. Both of these can lead to death. Tell your doctor right away if you have new or worsening symptoms, including trouble breathing, shortness of breath, cough, or chest pain. Before taking Ibrance, tell your doctor if you have fever, chills, or other signs of infection, liver or kidney problems, are or plan to become pregnant, or are breastfeeding. Common side effects include low red blood cell and low platelet counts, infections, tiredness, nausea, sore mouth, abnormalities in liver blood tests, diarrhea, hair thinning or loss, vomiting, rash, and loss of appetite.
Hey, Middle Tennessee, it's Mark from the Safe House. And now, a quote from Vice President Kamala Harris.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
What did she just say? Well, I think what she means is come down to the Safe House and purchase a quality safe so you can be unburdened from protecting your valuables. And remember, don't let a crackhead or illegal that Kamala, the border czar, let into our country deliver or move your safe. And remember, gun safes are sales tax free at the Safe House. So drop by today or go to NashvilleSafeHouse.com.
A person makes the time for what they love.
And we make the space. 1-800-GOT-JUNK makes the space.
We make the space for possibility.
The space for yoga.
The space for lifting weights.
The space for dancing.
The space for living your best life.
And what does a person need to do to make all this happen?
All you have to do is point.
We make space for possibility.
When you want to make junk disappear,
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Or visit 1-800-GOTJUNK.com.
Get a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. 855-299-SOLD.
From the United Structural Systems WTN Traffic Center.
Some construction spots this morning, but really not terrible. We also have some road work that has the I-40 South Loop, the westbound ramp to exit 210. The left lane is the only lane available to you there. The right lane is blocked off by construction. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
This report brought to you by Efficient HVAC.
This Saturday at 9, tune into the Efficient Heating and Cooling Hour with Jeff Eddy. It's your home. Keep it comfortable through the changing of the seasons. Questions about heating, cooling, air quality, and more with Jeff Eddy during the Efficient Heating and Cooling Hour. Saturdays at 9 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Sponsored by Efficient HVAC.
From the Beacon Capital Management Weather Center.
Unusually warm for this time of the year. I'm First Alert meteorologist Melanie Layden. High temperatures today in the upper 70s with plenty of sunshine. Still chilly overnight as lows fall down to the 40s.
Information fueled,
Opinion driven. This is Nashville's Morning News with Dan Mandis.
And so, my fellow Americans,
we talk news.
5:06, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends. Monday, October 21st. Hope you are doing well. I don't know about you, but I'm having a really good time watching the absolute epic meltdown from the Harris campaign and also the likes of MSNBC, the networks as well, CNN talking about Donald Trump working at McDonald's over the weekend. This is audio from MSNBC. They call this a stunt. Listen.
If you're on his campaign, and I know you are certainly not, I'm not making any implication of that, but what is the logic behind this, going to a McDonald's? I mean, we know the guy likes Big Macs and filet of fish, and he's used the word love to describe the way he feels about the food there before. But what's this about?
There's no logic to it. It's a stunt. He has not put forth an economic agenda. He, as you know, appears to be not well, and he's engaged in some really bizarre types of activities during this campaign. So this is just another one of those stunts that he will continue on through the campaign. And I think that we need to really focus on making sure that he is not elected, of course, because he is a threat to our democracy. But
got it. Enter the talking point. See, the funny thing is that there was a reason behind this stunt, if that's what you want to call it. And that is the whole conversation regarding Kamala Harris and whether or not she worked at McDonald's back in the 80s. Can I just ask, and I don't understand this, and maybe Joan or Johnny can help me out here, but there's this question as to whether or not Kamala Harris worked at McDonald's way back in 1983. McDonald's came out over the weekend, and they literally said, we have no record of her working at McDonald's in 1983. By and large, she has not really talked about working in McDonald's until she got on the campaign trail and really wanted to connect with the blue-collar world. But can't she just release her tax returns?
Oh.
Like in 1983, I'm assuming that she had a, what do you call them, a W-2? Is that what you call it, a W-2, your tax documents?
Yeah.
So why can't she just go to her own records or go to the IRS and say, please release my tax returns for 1983. If she's working in McDonald's, obviously she paid taxes, and obviously she paid taxes, right? And so why can't she just release her tax returns? I mean, this whole thing could be over and done with in a minute, and they could make Donald Trump look really silly if she releases those tax returns and it says that she worked at McDonald's for 3 months. I don't understand why this is such a big deal for the Democrats. This is not a stunt. By the way, according to MSNBC, this whole thing is a stunt. It's not a stunt. This is something to draw attention to the honesty of Kamala Harris, the credibility of Kamala Harris. I mean, listen, and I'm looking at I've got Fox News on in here, and just the sheer video. And Donald Trump with his yellow apron and waving at people through the drive-thru. I mean, I don't know about you folks, but I absolutely love it. You can check out the video on the Dan Mandis Show X feed, and people were very excited about Donald Trump.
Tight. You got the salt on it. Never touches the human hand.
Very good.
Nice and full.
Thank you.
Good.
I mean, he was very excited. I don't know if you've seen the video, but he was very excited that the French fries never touch the human hand. And he said it's tight, getting all the French fries in there, never touches the human hand. So now McDonald's, who again says they have no record of Kamala Harris working at McDonald's, they have now invited her, Kamala Harris, to come work for a day, like Donald Trump did. They also invited Tim Walz. Best part of this whole thing, I love this, is that the former president, possibly future president, he basically says, well, now I've worked at McDonald's for exactly 15 minutes more than Kamala Harris. Now, I love the headlines out there. Trump says, and this is quote, Trump says without evidence that Harris never worked at McDonald's. Well, what evidence has she presented that she did? That's the thing. Why can't the headlines actually say Kamala Harris says without evidence that she worked at McDonald's? I mean, it seems to me like that's more accurate. She actually, she wrote a big old memoir kind of a thing. Never once did she say that she worked at McDonald's. And so again, I will ask the question. I tweeted this out. I posted on X. Can't she simply release her tax returns? Can't she go back and simply provide those tax returns when she was younger to prove that she worked there? Now, I worked at Glen Arrow Chevron when I was a kid, right there on the corner of Arrow Highway and Glendora Avenue in Glendora when I was a kid. It was a Chevron right there on the corner. You know it's there now, by the way? I think it's a Jack in the Box right next to a McDonald's. I worked at Sir Pizza and Chicken. I worked at a place called Gemco. That's like a Target. But I guarantee you that if you go back and you go to the IRS and you say, hey, can we have, Dan Mandis's, tax returns from the mid to late 1980s, early 1990s, they would release them and all of those places of employment would be there. No problem. So I just don't understand why this is such a big deal. It tells me that she never worked in McDonald's because this is a story that is easily put to bed. Either it's on her tax returns or it isn't. But while all of that is being discussed, Donald Trump working the drive-thru was absolutely epic.
A lot of fun here, everybody.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Look at all the fake news over there. Hello, everybody.
You can fake this, right?
And this is compliments of Trump, okay?
Yes, thank you. Mr. President,
yes.
Please don't let the United States become Brazil, my native Brazil.
We'll keep it good.
Please.
We're going to make it better than ever, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The best part is Trump is acutely aware. If you listen to the tone in his voice, he is acutely aware that speed is really important in the drive-thru. Did you notice that, Joan?
I did.
It's like, come on, man, I got more customers coming. I'm on a time limit thing.
I think he wanted to talk to the most voters that he could. Like, move it through, But he was so complimentary. There was one couple that said, they shook his hand and they said, I'm praying for you.
Yes.
It was just so heartwarming to watch that. It was really very cool.
And if you didn't catch what that woman was saying, she said, Mr. President, please don't let America become like her native Brazil. Can you imagine, by the way, I was thinking about this, the Secret Service nightmare this was?
Yes.
Because they had every car that is going through the drive-thru, or I'm assuming in the parking lot, they've got to do that whole, I don't know what you call it, but the mirror underneath the car thing to make sure there's no bombs in there and what have you.
Did you see the snipers on the buildings across the street?
Whew. It was like a madhouse there.
Yes, it was.
I mean, this doesn't happen.
People on the streets. Oh
yeah.
My goodness.
It was crazy. Now, the media covering this, and you can tell that they're really worried about Kamala Harris because of the way that they're framing the story of Donald Trump. I've got some must-hear audio from ABC News, and it's coming up next. Time to check the roads on WTN.
Just one spot, and it looks like it's at the airport. 40 eastbound, the off-ramp to International Airport. Some drop-off delays this morning. Be advised as you go through that. Also, one crash. It's on Nolensville Pike at Harding Place. A crash there. It's right in Paragon Mills. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you very much. Sunny today and a high near 80 right now. You said 40 degrees, Johnny. Is that what you said?
47.
47 degrees at Super Talk 99.7 at WTN. Johnny, congratulations. You and Amy have something in common. You both probably muttered to yourself, Dan just never listens to me. I heard that over the weekend. Moving right along. So, ABC News, they covered Donald Trump this way, and he is working at McDonald's.
With 16 days to go, stopping by McDonald's, pushing unsubstantiated claims that Vice President Kamala Harris lied about working at the fast food chain in college.
This is what I don't understand. Why do they say that Donald Trump's claims that Kamala Harris never worked at McDonald's, why do they say that those claims are unsubstantiated? She has not offered any proof. She has not offered any coworkers. She has not offered any tax documents. And McDonald's came out over the weekend and essentially said they don't have any record of Kamala Harris working there in the mid-1980s. So I don't know why ABC News, well, I do know why. It's because they're biased. But, I mean, listen to how they frame this. And I'm going to keep hammering this. Why is it they can't say Kamala Harris claims without evidence that she worked at McDonald's? She has not provided a shred of evidence. Not one piece.
With 16 days to go, stopping by McDonald's, pushing unsubstantiated claims that Vice President Kamala Harris lied about working at the fast food chain in college. And Trump not committing to respecting the 2024 election results.
No, for the love of God.
Either way, will you accept the results of the election?
Yeah, sure. If it's a fair election, always. I would always accept it if it's got to be a fair election.
So, in case you didn't catch that, the woman says, the woman asking about the election, would you commit to, accepting the results of the election, so on and so forth. This is such nonsense.
And Trump not committing to respecting the 2024 election results.
So that's how the reporter framed it.
Either way, will you accept the results of the election?
Yeah, sure. If it's a fair election, always. I would always accept it if it's got to be a fair election.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with what Donald Trump is saying. There's absolutely nothing wrong with saying, well, yeah, as long as it's fair. And here's the deal. If it was a Democrat saying the same thing, I would agree with it. Yeah, as long as there's no hijinks and shenanigans, absolutely, I'll accept the results of the 2024 election. I would expect anyone to say that. Democrat, Republican, Independent. You can't just simply say, oh, sure, I'll accept the results. Why doesn't anybody ask Kamala Harris that? Why doesn't anybody ask ABC News that? Why doesn't anybody ask the Associated Press these questions? It's always Donald Trump. They're asking the question, and his answer is spot on. And the man is working through a drive-thru at McDonald's, and they just keep asking the same question over and over again. It's like, enough already. So the reporters are asking their inane and repetitive questions, and Donald Trump and the people are just having a great time.
President Trump! Well, that's a good-looking group. Hello, everybody. Crazy. I'm having a lot of fun here, everybody. Look at the pictures of it.
So the New York Times has this long story comparing Donald Trump's birther controversy to this, saying without evidence that she never worked there at McDonald's. But listen to this, though, because there's ample evidence to prove that she did not work there. She filled out a resume back in 1987 that did not mention her working at McDonald's. Now, in fairness, it was more like a legal resume, but still, in 1987, just 4 years prior, she did work at McDonald's. Perhaps that should have been on her resume. She did not mention working at McDonald's in her memoirs. This is what the New York Times is reporting. She didn't mention working at McDonald's as she campaigned for DA, for the Attorney General, or for the Senate. How is that possible? Because that is such an easy woman of the people angle. I mean, you would think that if you're running for any kind of office, then that is a just natural kind of an angle that you are a woman of the people because you worked at McDonald's. And all this time that she has been a politician and she's been advocating for, as a Democrat, pretending to be a woman of the people, why would you not mention that 1,000 times? So now the New York Times has confirmed via email, I'm saying this tongue-in-cheek, from a longtime family friend, that this friend remembers Kamala's mother once saying that she worked at McDonald's. No proof, no evidence, just, oh yeah, I remember Kamala's mama saying that she worked at McDonald's. That's it. That's the New York Times confirming that Kamala Harris once worked at McDonald's. I love the way that Donald Trump, by the way, also wished Kamala a happy birthday. This was yesterday as he was working the drive-thru.
It's Kamala's birthday?
She's turning
60 years old?
Do you want to say anything?
Yes, I would say happy birthday, Kamala. She's turning 60.
Did you get her some fries?
I think I'll get her some flowers.
Why not to beat her?
Maybe I'll get her some fries. You're right, that might be. I'll give her some McDonald's. I'll get her a McDonald's hamburger.
Thank you.
No, it is her birthday. It is true, right? Happy birthday, Kamala. Happy birthday. See you later. Bye. Thank you, everybody.
Do you know what I would love? There's got to be like a question that people that have cooked French fries at McDonald's, there's got to be a question that only they would know. Like how long to put the fry thing on for or something. There's got to be something. How many shakes of salt? What kind of oil is it? How do you clean the thing? There's got to be, because I could tell you right now, when I worked at the gas station, for example, there are certain things that I just remember about working at the gas station. And so I would love for somebody to say, hey, Kamala, how many cups of oil do you dunk the fries in? Do you know what I mean? What's the temperature of the oil? Something to prove that she worked at McDonald's. I think that'd be really interesting, actually. Maybe I'm the only one.
Hey, Dan,
Yes.
0604 wants to know if that Chevron station that you worked at was where you blew up a motor.
Do you know what I've noticed, Joan, about the super texters? They're like wives.
Yeah.
They don't forget anything. Yes.
Is it true that that happened?
Yes.
Is it a story I really need to hear?
Sure. There's a lot of new listeners. Research shows.
Yeah.
That is where I blew up a motor. Somehow they didn't fire me. I don't know how.
Wow.
Yeah.
They must have really liked you.
They loved me. You know what? I'll tell that story very briefly coming up at 5:35 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. And thank you, 06, whatever it was, for bringing up a very painful moment in the childhood of one Dan Mandis. All right, Joan was coming up.
Oh, coming up
in
the news.
Yes.
Oh, here I am ready to do traffic, Dan. Jeez.
You're making fun of me blowing up the motor. You're blowing up the radio show. Come on, Joan.
Hey, here we go. An investigation into who released classified documents detailing Israel's plan to strike Iran. Also, a security guard is shot overnight at the apartment complex where he was working. We'll tell you he's in good condition today, and we'll tell you why, too. All of that coming up at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. Dan Mandis here for Window Nation. This is my window company. Now, I love these folks for so many different reasons. They put new windows in my basement studio, my bedroom, and my kitchen. Now, right now, prime window buying season because the weather is about to turn really cold. So if your windows are going to allow that warm air out and the cold air in this winter, you need to act right now. You need to call my friends at Window Nation. They're looking out for you with a great special going on right now. Buy 2 windows, get 2 free, plus pay nothing with no interest for 2 full years. That is a great deal. You know that Window Nation has over 33,000 5-star reviews on Google and a big 5-star review from my house. Now, your new windows can be installed in a day or less, and they come with a lifetime warranty. So don't forget that great deal right now from Window Nation. Buy 2 windows, get 2 free, plus Pay nothing with no interest for 2 full years. Again, that is a great deal. Call him. Tell him Dan Mandis told you to reach out. 866-90-NATION, 866-90-NATION, windownation.com.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Hey everybody, Dan Mandis with Super Talk 99.7 WTN and Nashville's Morning News. Right now, we are bringing results for our clients using both our radio and digital assets. 2025 is going to be a huge year, not only here in Tennessee, but of course, across America. If you want to jump on board, again, we're offering great incentives. Find us online, 997WTN.com, and let's talk.
Good morning. It's now 5:30, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. 46 degrees, clear skies right now. Stick around for the forecast and for traffic in just a couple of moments. The U.S. says it is investigating a possible classified intelligence leak. Documents appeared online, purportedly analyzing potential Israeli plans for a retaliatory strike on Iran. Meantime, Israel is now confirming an IDF commander died in a battle in northern Gaza.
Israel has carried out a series of strikes in Beirut and other parts of Lebanon. The IDF saying it was responding to Hezbollah attacks into northern Israel. And it's not clear whether that potential U.S. intelligence leak will impact Israel's plans to launch a retaliatory strike against Iran.
That's ABC's Tom Sufri-Burridge reporting from Tel Aviv. Locally, an apartment building security guard's bulletproof vest is getting the credit for saving his life. This happened at the Ivana Collins Creek apartment complex on Bell Road in Antioch overnight. The guard had been checking out a suspicious person in the pavilion area when he was shot. He's being checked out at the hospital, but he is expected to be okay. Police have not been able to find the suspect. And public schools in Tennessee on notice about a food recall linked to possible contamination of listeria. The food in question is produced by Bruce Pack, which makes pre-cooked proteins. The FDA says hundreds of affected food products, from frozen dinners to pre-made salads and sandwich wraps, are all affected. And it's not just schools, but products on grocery store shelves, too, including brand names like Dole, Taylor Farms, Great Value, and Michelina's. They were sold at popular grocery stores, including Walmart, Trader Joe's, Target, and Kroger. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather are next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 5:33. Dan Mandis here. And as a guy who's getting closer and closer to retirement age, the daunting task of figuring out Medicare is always on my mind, which is why I am so glad that I have Paul Winkler on my side. Now, Paul helps his clients understand Medicare and planning for retirement. As a matter of fact, last week, he had a whole workshop on Medicare, and if you missed it, it was really good. If you missed it, you can still see it on his website at paulwinkler.com/webinars. It is right there on the front page. Check it out. He had experts on to really help you understand the mistakes you can make when signing up for Medicare. He talked about what Medicare covers, what it doesn't, and all the options you may have. So it's not too late. It's all online. Again, paulwinkler.com. He can save you time. He can save you money. And he can help you get ready for what should be the best years of your life. Again, find it online, paulwinkler.com/webinars. You can always find him online at paulwinkler.com, generally speaking. And you can call him 615-851-1950, 615-851-1950.
Drop-off delays this morning at the airport. So the eastbound 40, the off-ramp to International Airport is just a little slow this morning. And then an accident in Paragon Mills at Nolensville Pike and just south of Harding Place. Be careful of that crash. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey everybody, Dan Mandis with Nashville's Morning News and Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I was speaking to Dr. Christopher Van Shank the other day at a station event. Now, he's a psychiatrist, and he was telling me about the mental health crisis here in America. And as you know, it's out of control. The COVID lockdowns were an absolute disaster. And Dr. Van Shank, again, he's a psychiatrist. And if you're one of those people, you feel like maybe you need to talk to somebody, I would recommend Dr. Christopher Van Shank. He can help you with addictions, depression, anxiety. He can also help kids with the same thing. He's been doing this for 15 years. He's been helping people, and he is here for you today. So if you want to check out his website is nolensvillepsychiatry.com. That's nolensvillepsychiatry.com. There's a whole list of issues that he can help you with. So check him out. If you feel like he can help you, give him a call. The number is below, and good luck. .537 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Time for the Gang of Three. Joan Jones is here. Good morning, Joan.
Hello there.
Johnny's here. Good morning, Johnny. Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed as always.
Hello.
Hello. Everybody happy and excited to be here?
Oh, you know it.
All right. So, yeah,
Damn Mandis.
I used to work
of
at
Mount Juliet.
That's right. I used to work in a gas station, and yes, indeed, I was the guy. I did two things. Number one is I was the guy who would work the islands. Now, for you younger kids in the audience, there used to be men or women, whatever, who would go out and they would work the islands at a gas station. So they would pump your gas, they would check your oil, they would check your transmission, they would clean your windows with the squeegee type thing.
Right.
And just so you know, ladies, they were usually checking you out too.
Oh, I see.
Was young Dan Mandis doing that? Well, I guess that's a yes.
Yeah.
That would be a yes. Yep, I sure did.
You're a guy.
Oh, I was far more of a guy back then too, let me tell you. I was young. I was very young, and I did that for like 5 or 6 years. God. And, the moms would come in, the moms, and I'm 16, 17 years old, and,
baby.
Well,
We'd like pictures.
Me
and the listeners, we'd like pictures.
You want pictures of me working at Glen Arrow Chevron?
Yeah. Right? I mean, wouldn't everybody?
Yeah, I don't know if I have any pictures. It was back when I had really long hair.
That's what I want to see, Dan.
Have you not seen these pictures?
You haven't
of
seen
him
the
with
pictures
long
of
hair?
me with the long hair?
No.
Oh, it's quite something.
It's something.
Come on, I'm a newcomer, guys.
I'll have to find them. They're somewhere. I'll find them. Okay. I'll go ahead and post those again. I had long. Basically, Joan, I look like Axl Rose. That's what I look like.
Axl Rose changing my oil. Okay.
Let me tell you something. Well, yes, I did blow up an engine. Basically, what I did was my job was to watch the islands and also to change oil in vehicles. And so one time, unfortunately, I put the oil filter in a little askew. And yeah.
Uh-oh.
So Joan, you know what that means, right? So the car drives away and my boss sees a trail of oil out the driveway and down Arrow Highway. And needless to say, we got a call from the owner who had to walk to his home because that was before cell phones. And
let us know that he was not a happy camper.
Kind of like the people at home. The dogs are going crazy right now because of that.
Oh, are they?
That sound effect. I'm sure they are.
Yes. My dog is.
Why would that drive dogs crazy?
Well, because it sounds like a doorbell.
It sounds like a doorbell. Yep.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Super texters? Is that driving your dogs crazy? What I want to know. Joan, did you have any? Did you?
No, I did not
you,
work at a gas station.
Yes, it was.
All right.
Yeah.
John, you ever bark at your wife?
Bark?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, never mind. Go ahead, Joan.
Well, that was a question out of the blue. No, I didn't work at a gas station.
No. I was just like, what was your like job in high school? Did you have one?
I did. So I worked.
Because clearly we know that Kamala Harris did not work at McDonald's.
Right. I worked at we called it the Greasy Spoon, a little diner kind of restaurant. I grew up in a shore town.
Yeah, New Jersey.
So I worked at this like little Greasy Spoon restaurant where the fishermen would stop before they went out on their boats. And it was on this causeway between like Atlantic City and where my town was, Summers Point. So we would see some, people coming back from the casinos early in the morning.
Yeah.
It would be like 5 o'clock in the morning. So my famous story is that I got to meet the Ramones.
Oh, man, that's cool.
Did they tell you that they wanted to be sedated?
No. They were after they left. I mean, yeah. I think they were when they got there, actually.
That is the only Ramones song I know.
Yeah.
And look at me pulling it out of my you-know-where.
Yeah.
Look at me pulling it out of my... There you go. Moving on. I know. I do the sound effects to death. Keep going, just Joan. So you met the Ramones. Were they nice to you?
Yeah, they were. Yep.
Really? Did you flirt with them like a groupie?
No.
Flip your hair and...
No.
Oh.
No, I was a waitress. My goodness. Like...
Oh, because the Ramones wouldn't lower themselves to be with a waitress.
Okay. I was pretty young. I was probably, 15, 16.
Very good. So you met the Ramones and they were nice to you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Very good.
It was a cool job.
Yeah.
And then I went to work for my dad in real estate. So.
Good.
Yeah.
Good story, Joan. Working for dad in real estate. I could go back to the
right
bell
along.
if you want.
Yeah. No, thanks. Thanks. We want to hear what Johnny did.
Johnny, what did you do?
I never got into I never worked at a gas station or, to be honest, my first job was working for my father at his radio station.
Go ahead, yawn at him. Go ahead.
And I worked 9 at night till 6 in the morning.
Whoa.
Spinning those country discs.
How old were you?
I was 16.
You have been in this business for far too long,
I
mister.
have. Gosh.
So you were playing like Elvis Presley as a new artist.
No.
Is what you're saying.
Boy, Dan, no.
What? I'm just saying.
No, Elvis. About the time I came along, Elvis was close to being dead.
Oh, sorry. It's my bad.
No, yeah, it was your bad. No, I think David Allan Coe had just come on the scene, on the country scene.
Okay.
Yeah. But no, I played a lot of Conway Twitty and Loretta Lynn and stuff like that.
See, that's slightly better and more exciting than working for your dad's real estate company.
Okay.
But see, my dad also, the great thing about him, when you went to work for him at his radio station, you had many jobs. And one of my jobs was also helping out, like putting on roofs, things like that with my uncle.
Wow.
With my uncle.
Very cool. All right.
Yeah.
By the way, I was also a house painter. 5019, Joan, which restaurant?
I think it was called the Pirates Cove.
Oh my gosh, I think Joan's lying. Are you lying about
Well, it's not
McDonald's?
there
like Kamala?
It's not there anymore.
whatever.
I can't remember.
Did you have to dress up like a pirate?
No, I did not.
Okay. You didn't have to go, "Arr, matey, what do you want? What can I get you from the galley?"
Oh.
Somebody's
Can I
calling
get you
somebody.
some coffee, doll? That's really all.
Gotta get you.
1082 is calling somebody a dork, and I'm not sure which one. Is it
I think
me,
it's probably
Joan,
all
or
three of us.
Johnny?
I'm
Probably
pretty
all
sure
three
it's
of us.
you.
Do you know what?
Wow.
I want to make sure everybody heard that.
Boy,
Joan said,
loud
"I'm
and
pretty sure
clear.
the dork is you, Mandis."
Yeah.
Wow. All right, cool.
Man,
You know what else I did?
tough crowd.
I delivered telegrams. I've done all the jobs that are like
Man, you have.
non-existent.
That's pretty cool.
That is
Yeah.
cool.
Do you know who I delivered a telegram to?
Oh.
I think it's either, remember the Dick York?
Yes.
Is it Bewitched or I Dream of
Bewitched.
Jeanette?
Oh, yeah.
Bewitched. I think it was either Dick York or the other Dick, both were named Dick.
They were.
Both of the
Dick Sargent?
Darrens, yes. Dick Sargent or Dick York.
Either the straight one or the gay one.
I don't know.
Because
But
Dick
it was one of
Sargent
them.
was gay.
Right.
Yeah.
So I delivered a telegram to him, and it's really kind of sad because when he opened the door, he was on like an oxygen tank.
That was Dick York.
Was that Dick York?
Yeah, he had emphysema. Yeah.
Yes, he had emphysema.
Yes.
And I mean, nobody would believe me that I delivered a telegram to Dick York, and then we of course, I had the little receipt thing. So look, it's the guy from Bewitched, and it was Dick York. Wow. So yeah, it was very nice actually, and I think he died some years later, but anyway, yeah. So I did that. I worked at Sir Pizza and Chicken, which that was the famous story that I have where I couldn't tell the difference between a breast and a thigh. And so, of course, this was in high school, and that brings up all of the jokes about...
Absolutely.
Okay?
Yes.
So there...
That's just wide open right there. That's a target.
That's exactly right. And I worked at Gemco, which is like a Target. So, and then I got into radio, and then I, all the fun.
The rest is history.
Yeah.
Yes, the rest
Something
is,
like
as they say, is history.
Leading right up to a Marconi.
You know, I've told the story before. I don't know if you were with us yet, Joan, but my very first radio job was out at a transmitter building. Johnny's heard this story many times. But I worked at a transmitter building out in the middle of nowhere in Pomona, California, KMNY, AM 1600. And it was so remote. How remote was it?
How remote was it?
That hookers would bring their Johns into our parking lot to...
Wow.
Ring their
really?
bell.
Yeah, a lot of bells were rung in that parking lot.
I imagine.
Woof.
And I didn't really understand. It's like 2:00 in the morning, and I've got the overnight shift, and I could not understand why there were other cars in the parking lot. And so then when daylight happened and the sun came up, I walked out there, and they were, throwing the debris of their trysts out the window and into the middle of the parking lot.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Thank God I didn't have to clean that up. Can you imagine that?
No, I don't want to.
Wow.
Yes.
Dan Mandis, what a life.
Yeah.
Tell you what.
You've lived a really interesting life.
Yes, you have.
I really haven't. I really haven't. By the way, coming up in the 6th, you know what Lizzo did?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, Lizzo.
Can I just say, I cannot think 7311. I can tell the difference between a breast and a thigh blindfolded. Love it.
Well done,
Yes.
7311.
I cannot think, quite frankly, of a better spokesperson for Kamala Harris than Lizzo. I think it's great. And so what she did, if you haven't heard it, she said something out on the campaign trail for Kamala Harris that caused a lot of controversy for Kamala Harris. And that story for you coming up. 5:50 on Nashville's Morning News. And Joan Jones, what's coming up in the news?
Well, there's a lot of coffee stirring sticks at some polling places, and it has nothing to do with coffee. We'll tell you what it is. Also, a U.S. Marine goes on trial today for what he did on a bus. Those stories coming up at 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
5:50 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Dan Mandis here. Listen, friends, don't wait till November. Probably the number one question I get from listeners is, how can I get in the conservative fight? Well, it's critical to know where your dollars are going. Most credit cards are funneling millions of dollars to the left. But these days, right now, you have a choice. Coin is America's conservative credit card. You earn cash back while fighting the liberal agenda.
Apply right now at coin.com. The spelling is important. COIGN, coin.com. Terms apply. Go to coin.com. Again, that's COIGN, coin.com/disclosures for full details.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
It doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
.55, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Donald Trump, by the way, is at barbershops. I guess Fox News is on here in the studio. And I guess the guy, I don't know what's the guy's name? Lawrence over there on Fox News?
Yeah. Lawrence Jones.
Lawrence Jones. So Lawrence Jones is going on some sort of a barbershop tour. And Donald Trump has joined this barbershop tour. And so you have, and we talked about this on Friday, and I guess Trump has gone on a couple of these things. So he's basically going to barbershops and he's communicating with the American people. So you're talking about barbershops and you're talking about McDonald's. You know, this truly is a man of the people. Then you have Lizzo, who
Do you know who Lizzo is, Joan?
Yeah.
All right. So, well, I just, in fairness to me, actually, I'm kind of proud that I didn't really know who Lizzo was.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You know what she is?
Yeah.
She's a piece of work. Anyway, listen to this.
I'm so proud to be from this city.
Detroit.
You know, they say if Kamala wins, then the whole country will be like Detroit. Okay? Proud like Detroit. Resilient like Detroit. I'm so proud.
Yeah. So now what people are, well, and I talked about this last week because Trump actually said, and I'll have a longer comment, longer segment on this here in a little bit, but Trump actually got berated for saying that if Kamala wins, then America's going to be like Detroit. And people, were like, oh, my God, you're insulting Detroit when you're in Detroit. It's like, well, yeah, because people who live in Detroit know that it's a crap hole. And so Lizzo then comes in and she actually says that America will be like Detroit if Kamala wins. And it's like these people are cheering. So now on social media, since this happened, you've got people that are driving the streets of Detroit. You've got all of these, burned out buildings, and you've got all this crime, and you've got it looks like a hellscape. Detroit does. And you've got, and I laid all this out a while ago last week, but, you've got obviously schools that are having a lot of issues. You've got crime that is off the charts. It's one of the most crime-ridden cities in America. Detroit is. It's actually, do you know that Detroit is toxic? So you could sit here and you could say that Detroit is resilient. It's really not. It's crumbling because of Democrat rule. And by the way, Lizzo is so proud to be from Detroit. Where does she live now? Anybody know? Does she still live in the heart of? Do you know that you can buy like a house in Detroit for like $1?
Oh yeah,
you literally can. So I would like to know from Lizzo, where do you live now? Do you live in Detroit or did you move away? Inquiring minds want to know. 5:58, Nashville's Morning News on WTN.
there, it's now 6 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We're sitting at 47 degrees and clear skies right now. Your forecast and traffic still to come. Some polling problems have been reported in Davidson County, where voters say that using their finger to tap their candidate of choice ended up selecting the candidate above. Well, now Administrator of Elections Jeff Roberts tells Channel 4 they've brought back the use of coffee stirring sticks.
Very precise to make your choice.
He says to make sure that you check your ballot twice before you print. The plastic sticks have been distributed to all 13 early voting locations. Roberts said that they have more than enough on hand to last through Election Day. Over 175 rockets were fired by Hezbollah at northern Israel Sunday. The IDF saying it killed 3 Hezbollah commanders after striking the organization's intelligence headquarters in Beirut. Meantime, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is set to visit the Middle East this week, including with stops in Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Israel, and Qatar, in an effort to push forward plans for a ceasefire and hostage deal and an alternative to Hamas rule in Gaza. Jury selection starts later today for the trial of a Marine veteran charged with killing a homeless man on a New York City subway.
Last year, 25-year-old Daniel Penny put Jordan Neely, a subway performer with a history of mental illness, in a chokehold after he claimed Neely began acting erratically, threatening to kill people in the New York City subway.
The 3 main threats that he repeated over and over was, I'm going to kill you, I'm prepared to go to jail for life, and I'm willing to die.
Prosecutors say Neely was not armed and did not pose a threat. Jury selection begins today. The trial is expected to last 4 to 6 weeks.
That's ABC's Rhiannon Alley. Market Numbers Report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
From ABC News, Wall Street now. Stock futures were higher this morning after the Dow and the S&P scored a record-setting week. The Dow on Friday rose 37 points to close at 43,276. The S&P headed into the weekend by gaining 0.4%. The Nasdaq surged 0.6%. Netflix shares jumped 11% on Friday after the company reported third-quarter results that beat earnings, revenue, and paid membership estimates. 283 million people worldwide have bought a Netflix subscription. The 33,000 Boeing workers striking for more than a month have a new proposal to consider, one that includes 35% raises over 4 years. The union says the offer is good enough to put it to a vote by the rank and file on Wednesday. Back-to-back hurricanes could mean higher car insurance rates. Hurricanes Helene and Milton have created billions of dollars in claims, and industry analysts say that could mean rates will rise even more in hurricane zones. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Stock futures falling a bit now. The Dow Jones Industrials futures minus 95, NASDAQ futures down 103, and the S&P futures are minus 17. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather are next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Hey, I'm Joan Jones on Super Talk 99.7. And you know, the dual power of radio and digital has always been such a plus for our advertisers. So if you're thinking about your 2025 plans, make sure you check us out at 997wtn.com/epic. Go there now. Still have those drop-off delays at the airport this morning. So eastbound 40, the off-ramp to International Airport is all jammed up. Also a crash involving injuries, West End, 21st Avenue South at Blair Boulevard. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.607 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you, friends. Hope you're doing well. It is a Monday, October 21st, and man, do we have a lot of news going on. So much news, I don't even know where to start. How about here with the drug cartels? So this is a big story for a number of different reasons, but this is the headline. The drug cartels are calling for open season on our Border Patrol. Now, November 5th, of course, we all know is approaching. News Nation has a big story this morning and over the weekend as the cartels are now giving permission for their members to actually shoot our Border Patrol agents.
Cartel operatives have actually been given permission to shoot at U.S. Border Patrol agents because the response that Border Patrol is kind of creating by being in the presence of this infighting is bringing Mexican law enforcement and Mexican military to the southern border where they're fighting, and the cartel doesn't want that.
So our Border Patrol not only has to deal with illegal immigration, they not only have to deal with the drugs, not to mention babysitting for some of these illegal aliens, but now they're involved in responding to the cartel wars. They're also, of course, having to deal with the Harris-Biden administration and their weak on-border policies. Now, these cartels and the drugs that they smuggle into our country kill over 100,000 Americans every single year. And Kamala Harris and Joe Biden and Alejandro Mayorkas, clearly, as you know, they just don't care. News Nation reports about the response of Republicans who blame the border issues on the current administration, of course, which they should.
So Representative and Chairman of this committee, Mark Green, saying, quote, "We have long heard from the Border Patrol agents that they face increased risks in their frontline jobs. These reports are just further proof that the cartels will stop at nothing to take what they want. Our Border Patrol agents deserve policies that will make their job easier. Yep. Unfortunately, Biden and Harris have given them the opposite."
You know, the thing is, and everybody knows this because we see this time and time and time again, and that is that weakness in our government emboldens the bad guys. And when it comes to Biden and Harris and Mayorkas and the entire Biden administration, we see examples of this almost every single day. Weakness in our government emboldening the bad guys, whether it is Vladimir Putin, Xi Jinping, or the cartels. There is a reason why the American people trust Donald Trump more than Kamala Harris on these issues, including the border. So while the left is screaming about abortions, apparently they have nothing to say about our border and our Border Patrol being under attack. So News Nation speaks to a guy named Victor Hablas, who is a former agent who worked with Homeland Security, and he agrees that for the Border Patrol and for the American people, the Harris-Biden administration, they're not good for America or our security or our sovereignty.
They don't care. You see, this is the difference of the evolution of the cartels. They fear no one anymore, especially the U.S. law enforcement. They do have the resources, and in fact, they do have the capabilities and will use them against us.
Right. I mean, all you got to do is look at what we've seen the last 3.5 years. And if you want to see that chaos continue, go ahead and vote for Kamala Harris. I mean, the drugs coming across our southern border, the illegal alien crime. By the way, there is some illegal alien crime here in Middle Tennessee over the weekend. We're going to talk about that. The illegal alien crime is constant all across the country. The sex trafficking, taking over of communities, all of this is going to continue. Now, you remember the moment, this moment, it was actually pretty epic when Brett Baer interviewed Kamala Harris, where, remember, and I covered this extensively on a number of different angles, but Brett Baer asked Kamala Harris if she owes the families of those impacted by illegal alien crime an apology.
So do you owe them an apology is what I'm saying?
I will tell you that I am so sorry for her loss. I am so sorry for her loss. Sincerely.
Yeah, she's talking about the mother of Jocelyn Nungery. Her name is Alexis. Now, she had this to say about that, not even close to an apology from the vice president.
I think she's completely full of it. She is not a sincere woman at all. She has no sympathy, no empathy to her. She's supposed to, if she wants to run this country, she needs to take into consideration the families that she has affected with these policies that she has allowed and that she has approved. It's unacceptable that she gave me a very empty, half-open apology.
It was a non-apology. It's okay to say it. It was a non-apology. And Republicans are taking her out big time, Kamala Harris. They're taking her out big time. Of course, the Democrats and the media, they're just running from this topic, just running from it. Because they know that Kamala Harris, she doesn't have a leg to stand on when it comes to all of the things that I mentioned above. The drugs, the illegal alien crime, the sex trafficking, the taking over of communities. I mean, we keep seeing the stories. And I do wonder if you folks actually get tired of hearing the illegal alien stories, because I get tired of telling you. It's like the daily deluge of illegal immigration. And I do. I get tired of the story because it all leads back to ultimately the same headline, which is Kamala Harris and Joe Biden and Alejandro Mayorkas. They have left all of us vulnerable. There's a town in Ohio. It's called Lockland. And there has now been a situation there where they have had to accept a bunch of migrants from, of all places, Mauritania, which is in Africa. Mauritania is culturally and politically part of the Arab world. They say it is a member of the Arab League, and Arabic is the official language. The official religion is Islam. And almost all inhabitants there in Mauritania are Sunni Muslims. Now, apparently we consider them partners in fighting radical Islamic terrorism. So apparently, according to Biden and Harris, it makes all the sense in the world to bring them to America. And so now you got some folks there in Ohio, in this town in Ohio, they're starting to, of course, as you can imagine, freak out. And here's the problem. The problem is that they show up and they have very little education, and what education they got it in Mauritania. And so it's not much of an education. The other problem is they're taking up, and stop me when you've heard this before, they're taking up valuable resources. And they can't even work because they don't actually have any kind of permissions to work. This is one of the local authorities there in Ohio that is saying, no, they can't work.
It's about 200 units of apartments because these immigrants are seeking asylum. When they get to the United States, or in Lockland in particular, usually for the first 18 months, where we've learned that they're unable or unqualified for work permits. So most of the immigrants living in Lockland are unable to work. And if they're unable to work, they're unable to pay taxes.
Yep.
And they have essentially displaced the tax-paying residents of these 200 apartment units and filled them with non-tax-paying residents. We're losing about $125,000 to $150,000 of revenue because of that.
So not only are they losing revenue, but valuable resources as well. And so now, I'm sorry, but this is, yet another story where the Biden administration is just bringing these folks in from other countries. We have no idea who they are. We have no idea if they've been vetted. And these little towns like Lockland, Ohio, they don't have the ability to deal with this kind of an influx. It's almost like a federal mandate. It's an unfunded federal mandate. You will accept all of these people from, of all places, Mauritania, and deal with them, give them food, give them shelter, put them in your schools, and good luck to you. That's what they're doing. And so now the question is, all right, so now what is going to happen in Lockland, Ohio? And will they start seeing the kind of issues that we have seen in other towns and cities all across America? 6:16, time to check the roads on WTN. Thank you very much. Sunny today and a high near 80. Right now, 47 at Super Talk 99.7 WTN. By the way, catch and release is back. Just real quick, because I know I can feel the frustration of you folks, because every day is the daily deluge of illegal immigration. Here's the thing, though, and the reason why it's important for me to keep covering this is because, and try and present it somehow in a new way, because believe it or not, as Election Day approaches, there are new people tuning in every single day. And I've got to just keep reminding people how bad it is here in America regarding illegal immigration. Catch and release is back. This is from Bill Mlusian in a report from authorities in California. The Border Patrol officials have informed me that, they say, the street releases were set to resume again last Friday in San Diego County, adding to the more than 155,000 in the past year of people coming into California and this particular region, San Diego County. They say, but with the election around the corner, the federal government was worried about the optics. So every day, they're busing illegal immigrants from San Diego to Yuma, Arizona, to fly them across the country. They say this isn't about securing the border for the feds. It is about optics. It's really sad. And we keep seeing it day after day. We have our own story here in Nashville, as a matter of fact. Over the weekend, an illegal from Honduras is accused of a carjacking in Nashville. Now, this guy has been charged in the homicide of a 13-year-old girl. Now, coming up at 8:06, we're going to speak to that 13-year-old girl's mother. And she is, as you can imagine, beside herself because the guy had a really... Go to my Twitter. Go to my Facebook. You will see the smirking guy's mugshot after he got caught, led the authorities on a chase from Nashville into Mount Juliet. They were finally able to capture him. And his mugshot is, there's no other way to describe it. He is smirking at the camera. You know why this dude is smirking at the camera? Because he knows that he's going to get away with whatever charges ends up being filed against him for carjacking, because he was able to get away with this the homicide charges involving a 13-year-old girl who was killed by he was involved in it a couple of years ago, and they let him off on parole. It is so stunning to me. And imagine being that girl's mother, hopping online and there he is, the guy that took part in and had a part in the killing of her daughter, and his smirking mug is all over social media, smirking at the camera like he just doesn't care that he just got popped for carjacking. So now, again, I'm going to speak to that girl's mom at 8:06, but it's a horrific story. And we see this not only in Nashville, but all across the country. And the question is, at what point will this end? And I'm telling you, it'll never end, especially if we continue to deal with the Democrats in the White House, which is why we have an election coming up in November Early voting is underway, and it is really important that you get out and you vote for Trump because he wants to get all of these guys out of our country. It is 6:21 on Nashville's Morning News, and that will be a gargantuan undertaking if the former president ends up being reelected for a second term. We can only hope. It is 6:21 on Super Talk 99.7. And Joan Jones is preparing for the news at 6:30. Joan, what's coming up?
Well, a Tennessee woman is reported to prison after being convicted for protesting outside an abortion clinic. Also, 4 people killed when their helicopter crashed into a radio tower. Those stories, 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Friends, it is October, and that means Halloween is just a few weeks away. And Busy Bee is celebrating by giving you some great deals on your HVAC and plumbing. Now, they are your Rude Pro partners, and yes, they are giving you 50% off of a furnace inspection and 20% off any furnace repair work at the time of service. How about $300 off of an ultraviolet home treatment system installation? Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, they are here to try and save you money. Now, don't forget about the Beehive Club. As a Beehive member, you'll receive 3 annual tune-ups, 1 cooling, 1 heating, and 1 plumbing. 10% discount on all repairs, priority front-of-the-line service, no overtime or holiday fees, and so much more, all for as little as $99. Now, listen, I've been a Beehive member for years. I've had them install a new system, fix an old one, and maintain all my units as well. Outstanding customer service, and simply put, Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, they do great work. So, for satisfaction guaranteed, call Busy Bee HVAC. They are your Rude Pro partner, 615-775-7833, 615-775-7833, busybeehvac.com.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
The dual power of radio and digital advertising on Super Talk 99.7 WTN has always delivered for our local advertisers. Now's your chance to book your 2025 marketing campaign early for savings and incentives. Just reach out today to your local ad representative or go to 997wtn.com/epic.
626 on WTN. Dan Mandis here. Did you know that you're funding America's future? It is not the future you want for you or your kids. Most major credit cards funnel millions to liberal causes and candidates hoping that you don't notice. So take a stand and get woke out of your wallet. Coin is the conservative's credit card. You earn cash back while advancing a conservative future. Apply right now at coin.com. Coin.com, the spelling is important. It's COIGN. Coin.com, terms apply. Go to coin.com/disclosures for full details. That is COIGN, coin.com. .628, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Super Text line is open, by the way, 615-737-9986. 615-737-WWTN. So this, by the way, big news. I don't know if you saw this, but it looks like the Pennsylvania steel workers are endorsing Donald Trump. So I think that's a big news this morning. But, you know, it's interesting, because everywhere you look this morning, the momentum continues to be on Donald Trump's side. So the longer that Kamala Harris is out on the campaign trail and the longer that she speaks, the worse it is for the Harris campaign. You can throw Lizzo right in there, too, because Lizzo, she told this earlier, that Lizzo went out and said something completely throwing Kamala Harris right under the bus. I've got that story for you and a whole lot more straight ahead on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 at WTN. And got to tell you that with the Super Text line, a lot of people chiming in. I did ask the question, where does Lizzo actually live? Because, you know, she's out there extolling the virtues of Detroit, to let you know where we're going. And apparently she lives in Los Angeles. Somebody said in a $15 million mansion in Los Angeles. And you're not going to believe the shirt, the T-shirt that Kamala Harris was wearing when she was in Detroit. Details straight ahead on WTN. You know, these days with kids and now grandkids, it is more important than ever to have clean carpets. And that is why I use Zero Res to keep my carpets clean and the little ones safe. Now, at Zero Res, they refuse to use harsh chemicals, and they leave your carpets insanely clean. No soap and no residue, just soft, fluffy carpets that are going to stay clean longer. And Dan Mandis here, and yes, I've been a Zero Res customer for years. You know, cold and flu season is just around the corner, and your carpet, it is one of the largest filters in your home. You need to keep it clean and your family healthy with Zero Res. A great deal going on right now. 3 rooms of carpets cleaned for $119 plus. You're going to get a free hallway. $100 off of air duct cleaning as well, using Fresh 100 as the promo code. Restrictions may apply. Call them. Tell them Dan told you to reach out. 615-535-9376. 615-535-9376. Don't forget that great deal. 3 rooms of carpets cleaned for $119 plus. You're going to get a free hallway. They've got a lot of great reviews on Facebook and Google reviews as well. Find them online, ZeroResNashville.com.
Good morning, 6:30 now, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We've got your forecast and traffic coming up in just 5 minutes. Right now, though, it's 46 degrees and clear skies. Nashville resident Bevelyn Williams reported to a federal prison in Alabama over the weekend. She is the woman who, along with others, protested in front of a Planned Parenthood location in Manhattan and then was sentenced to 3.5 years in prison. She posted an update before reporting to prison.
I could stay home on bail while I appeal my case. The judge denied it. And so a facility has been assigned to me.
And that appeal was heard by the same judge who sentenced Williams. Before going to prison, she set up a Give, Send, Go account to help her husband while she is imprisoned. In Memphis, a woman running alongside others at a breast cancer walk was shot and killed. Police say a car pulled up alongside the woman and the driver shot twice. Police tracked down the car after a high-speed chase and arrested a 26-year-old man. He was described as the woman's former boyfriend. He's charged with murder and for attempting to run down a police officer with his car. In Texas, a helicopter crashed into a communications tower, killing 4 people on board, including a child. This man saw the tower come down.
It looked like a crane or like a radio tower. It looked like it was hit, and it got bright orange, like it flamed, and it just crumbled down.
That crash happened near Houston. Market Numbers Report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Dow futures down 101 now, and the NASDAQ futures losing 128. S&P futures, they're down 20. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 6:32 on WTN. Friends, what if you could take all that high-interest debt like credit cards and car loans and just consolidate everything into one low payment, and you could get it done by January. Loan Pronto can do that, so stop stressing and call them today to get started. Now listen, we've got the lowest rates in a couple of years, so right now is the perfect chance to use your home's equity and save big time going into the new year. They've got rates with APRs in the lower 5s, and they're getting homeowners hundreds of thousands of dollars out of their home's equity. Homeowners who do this can save on average $850 a month. Now, Loan Pronto offers a ton of options, including total refis or their Express Equity line of credit. So call right now and get a rate quote in just minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. So call them today and you won't make a house payment till 2025. LoanPronto.com, 615-499-5780, 615-499-5780. Again, you can find them online, LoanPronto.com. Get a free rate quote now, 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781 on approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Oh, those drop-off delays are still hanging around this morning at the airport. 40 eastbound, off-ramp to International Airport, all jammed up by it. Also, an injury crash in West End at 21st Avenue South and Blair Boulevard. Another crash this morning. The left lane is open at Medical Center Parkway in Murfreesboro. Westbound at I-24, but there is a crash. Again, that left turn lane is now open. Traffic every 10 minutes, every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
6:36 on WTN Moon Valley Nurseries. I'm in the middle of a great backyard makeover, and I know the value of updating and upgrading your backyard because I'm doing it. Moon Valley Nurseries, they can help you if you've been thinking about it as well. Now, think about what you would want in your perfect backyard. Then check Moon Valley Nurseries out online, moonvalleynurseries.com. Now, you can actually add a ton of livable space to your home when you do this, not to mention increase the value of your home. Now, if you're not quite sure what you need to do, but you know that you need to do something, get a free design consultation from Moon Valley Nurseries. Again, you can find them at moonvalleynurseries.com. They like to say, we create the yard, you create the memories. That is absolutely true. Tell them Dan Mandis from WTN told you to reach out. Find them online, moonvalleynurseries.com. That's moonvalleynurseries.com. .638 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends. Big news. The Pennsylvania steelworkers have officially endorsed Donald Trump. Did you see? I guess Trump was at the football game last night. I guess Pittsburgh Steelers, whatever it is. And he was at the game, and you had the entire parking lot apparently was nothing but a Trump tailgate, from what I understand. So you got people out there that are predicting that Donald Trump is going to win Pennsylvania. Listen, I'm telling you, friends, that no matter how good the news is on a daily basis, and it does seem like every day the news is getting better and better for Donald Trump, you got to get out there and vote. This has got to be an absolute landslide. Now, the former president, possibly future president, remember that he caused a bit of a ruckus last week when he said this.
You want to know the truth? It'll be like Detroit. Our whole country will end up being like Detroit if she's your president. You're going to have a mess on your hands.
Yeah, and he was in Detroit. And so people were like, oh, my God, I can't believe that he insulted Detroit. He insulted Michigan, a battleground state, when he's actually in Michigan. And I was like, what is the big deal? People in Michigan know the problems with Detroit. People in Michigan, you would think that they would know that Detroit has a lot of problems. And I shared this with you last week, and if you heard it, I'm sorry, but there's a point. Quick Google search. Detroit's poverty rate is 3 times the national average. The child poverty rate is at 43%. Unemployment has been above the national average for years. Kamala Harris goes to Detroit. You know the T-shirt that she's wearing? Detroit versus everybody. Now, can I ask a question? If she's wearing a Detroit versus everybody T-shirt, it kind of seems to me like it's the Democrat Party that Detroit has been battling, because the Democrat Party, they're the ones that have been running Detroit and running Michigan for years. And so I love how you've got Kamala Harris out there and a lot of these other folks defending the honor of Detroit. You're the people that destroyed Detroit. Detroit has been ranked as the neediest city in the United States by WalletHub for several years in a row. Only 55% of the average working age adults were participating in the labor force. Low graduation rates, inadequate access to transportation, youth violence, off the charts, one of the top cities in the country for youth violence. A history of ecological disregard has made the city hazardous. And so when Kamala Harris is out there wearing a shirt when she's in Detroit that says Detroit versus everybody, what does that even mean? Because it seems like Detroit has been fighting the party that it is constantly voting for, and that party has helped to destroy Detroit. So I don't even know what that means. A big story last year, Detroit's population slide challenges the vision of revitalization. So people are up in arms when Donald Trump said that America was going to become Detroit. Oh my God, it's so racist. Why would he say that? He's making fun, or he's criticizing all of these minority cities. And so I asked the question at the time, and I ask you right now, what is more racist? Donald Trump, who wants to fix the problems so that those residents in Detroit and elsewhere can live a better life, or the Democrats who just allow these folks to wallow in the blight that their policies cause? Now, they're also voting for the party, so I don't know what the heck to tell you. Sorry. But I just get so frustrated. So then Lizzo, over the weekend, this is classic. Lizzo, over the weekend, she goes to Detroit. I guess she's from Detroit. And this is what she said.
I'm so proud to be from this city. You know, they say if Kamala wins, then the whole country will be like Detroit. Okay? Proud like Detroit. Resilient like Detroit.
Is Detroit really proud? I mean, is that the right question to ask? Is there anybody listening from Michigan? Because I know that whenever I do Red Eye Radio, people always gravitate towards the morning show here because they discover me on the network. So if you're in Detroit, or if you're from Detroit, is there anybody from Detroit that's proud of it? And my question earlier was, okay, so somebody please tell me, where does Lizzo live these days? Does she live in Detroit? Because if she doesn't live in Detroit, then I don't know what she's talking about.
I'm so proud to be from this city. You know, they say if Kamala wins, then the whole country will be like Detroit.
It's kind of funny, the cadence, by the way. I mean, is it just me, or do I find her cadence funny? If Kamala wins, then America's going to be like Detroit. All right.
I'm so proud to be from this city. You know, they say if Kamala wins, then the whole country will be like Detroit. Okay? Proud.
You know what I love, too, is people are cheering when she says that America will become like Detroit. The first thing that popped into my head when all these people from Detroit are cheering, first thing I thought of was, yeah, misery loves company.
Will be like Detroit. Okay? Proud like Detroit. Resilient like Detroit.
I don't know if Detroit's resilient. You know, you can buy like a big old mansion in Detroit, like literally in Detroit for like $1. I mean, that's how bad it is. And so Lizzo does this. Lizzo says this in Detroit, and it brought the Donald Trump comment roaring back. Because everybody knew, if they were honest with themselves, they knew that Trump had a great point. And Lizzo lives in Los Angeles, and from what I understand, a big old house, big old mansion kind of a thing. And so if you're proud to be from Detroit, then go back to Detroit, Lizzo. There's a reason why people are moving out. It's because they're not proud to be from Detroit. And listen, I'm not sitting here dogging on Detroit for no reason. This all goes back to, I don't want to be gratuitous in my in my criticism of Detroit, in my criticism of the Democrats, and my criticism of Lizzo. But the overarching point is that we have an election coming up. And listen, Donald Trump said it. He says if Kamala wins the election, America's going to become like Detroit. Well, Lizzo agrees. Probably the only thing that those two agree on. And so the reason I'm spending time on this is because, not to be gratuitous, but because I'm telling you that there is truth to that. There's absolute truth to that. Ask people how it's going in Springfield, Ohio. Ask people how it's going in San Francisco. Ask people how it's going in pretty much any city or state in the state of California. Any city in California, they will tell you that it is going way downhill, and it's on its way to becoming Detroit. Whether you're talking about San Francisco, whether you're talking about Los Angeles, whatever. And so, yeah, both Lizzo and Donald Trump are right. And so they got to figure something out as far as the Democrats go, because what we're finding now is you have a lot of people that are simply refusing to even appear with Kamala Harris on the campaign trail. Details straight ahead at 6:46. Time to check the roads on WTN. Thank you very much. Sunny today and highs near 80, 49 degrees now at Super Talk 99.7 WTN. There was so much that people were celebrating over the weekend related to Donald Trump, because he said a lot of great things. And he was in Pennsylvania working at the McDonald's. People are talking about that this morning. We're going to cover that extensively in the 7 o'clock hour. But one of the things that's going on is you now have a lot of people, talk about down ballot races, right? So when you have somebody running for the presidency, then you have the House races, you have Senate races, and on down it goes. And so one of the problems that the Democrats now have is that they have people that are on the campaign trail. They don't want to campaign with Kamala Harris. They simply don't. And the reason why is because she is doing so poorly. And so now the big question is, as she is doing so poorly, and as you have all of these people out on the campaign trail, senators and congressmen and so forth, they're refusing to appear with Kamala Harris because they know that she is an anchor on the Democrat Party. Now, again, I'm not saying that this is something that for the Republicans is a shoo-in. It's really not. But here's the deal. The more that people see Kamala Harris, the worse it is for her, and the worse it is for the Democrats. And so for me, I love that you've got Kamala Harris out there and everything she does, from Lizzo going to Detroit to Kamala Harris herself out on the campaign trail. It's almost like she can do nothing right. And everything that Donald Trump does, it seems to be working. And that's good, clearly. Can I just say one thing, by the way? And this is going to be a little touchy. This is going to be a little sensitive. And I don't want to make people mad. But how insensitive are the Democrats and Jimmy Carter's family? If you go to my Twitter feed, you're going to see that in the last few days, the family of Jimmy Carter, on his 100th birthday, they literally wheeled him out onto the front lawn of the Carter residence in Plains, Georgia. And I'm going to try to do this photograph justice. You've got Jimmy Carter. Is he in a wheelchair, Johnny, or is he in a hospital bed? I can't tell. It's like he was wheeled out there in some sort of a wheelchair or a hospital bed. And he's looking up at the sky, or basically his head is looking up at the sky. His mouth is agape. He's clearly not conscious. And I'm just going to be honest with you. I remember when my stepmother passed away, he's got that mouth open stare thing going on. And she was like a week from death. And so Jimmy Carter's family rolls him out, and they announce that the former president voted by mail, and they say that he was excited to vote for Kamala Harris. Chip Carter, the son of the former president, saying that Jimmy Carter is plugged in. Now, when I saw that quote, of course, the first thing I thought, well, he's plugged into life support. It's Jimmy Carter. And I'm trying to be respectful, but his family did this. So Chip Carter telling the Associated Press, I asked him 2 months ago if he was trying to live to be 100, and he said, no, I'm trying to live to vote for Kamala Harris. Now, again, you look at the photos of his 100th birthday, and it feels like a photo to be honest, he looks like he's in the last week of his life. And to me, that photograph, and if you see it on my Twitter feed, my X feed, you will see that, at least to me, it looks like they are being incredibly disrespectful to Jimmy Carter and his legacy, because unfortunately, there are some people, not me. I have a great respect, not for Jimmy Carter, the political figure, but for the humanitarian that is Jimmy Carter. And I don't think that his family is doing Jimmy Carter any justice by politicizing him in his old age, frankly. It is 6:52 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. Go see that story. It is just really sad and really pathetic what the Carter family is doing. Joan Jones, what's coming up in the news at 7?
Tell you about President Trump and his time behind a fryer at a McDonald's yesterday. Also, want to let you know that Elon Musk has been notified that he may have done something quite illegal. We'll tell you what that is in the news ahead at 7 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Something about that $1 million?
Could be that.
Could be that?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. I saw that and I thought, that might be problematic. Anyway, News with Joan Jones is coming up. Dan Mandis here. So the other day I went over to the Glock store and I had some fun shooting at their Halloween shoot house. And it's basically a course where you're firing for 90 seconds and you see how well you do on this Halloween-themed course at the Glock store. They've got smoke and they've got Halloween displays. It's a lot of fun. And they're actually putting together a video so you can check it out. But it's also a competition. You can actually win a Glock if you win this competition at the Glock store. Now, they can do this in one of their massive rooms because, well, they can. Lane ranges are really limited. They do all of their training in these big rooms where you can train in these massive rooms. You can also have fun with this Halloween-themed shooting contest. Now, I also got a chance to fire my next gun. I love the Glock 43X. Now, right now, I've got a Glock 19, but the Glock store, as usual, is my place to buy all my guns, continue my training. This is where I get my ammo as well. So check out the Halloween Shoot House, maybe even win a new gun and have a lot of fun. Check it all out online. Shoot270.com. That is shoot270.com. When you reach out, tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out. The Glock store, minutes from the airport and worth the drive from anywhere. Hey everybody, Dan Mandis with Nashville's Morning News and Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I was speaking to Dr. Christopher Van Shank the other day at a station event. Now, he's a psychiatrist, and he was telling me about the mental health crisis here in America. And as you know, it's out of control. The COVID lockdowns were an absolute disaster. And Dr. Van Shank, again, he's a psychiatrist. And if you're one of those people, you feel like maybe you need to talk to somebody, I would recommend Dr. Christopher Van Shank. He can help you with addictions, depression, anxiety. He can also help kids with the same thing. He's been doing this for 15 years. He's been helping people, and he is here for you today. So if you want to check out his website is nolensvillepsychiatry.com. That's nolensvillepsychiatry.com. There's a whole list of issues that he can help you with. So check him out. If you feel like he can help you, give him a call. The number is below, and good luck.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
It doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. It's 7 o'clock now, and we're sitting at 46 degrees under clear skies. It's going to be a warm one today, though. We'll check out the forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. President Trump spent part of his Sunday serving up fries at a Bucks County, Pennsylvania McDonald's. He says that was to highlight a false claim by Kamala Harris that she slung fries when she was a teenager. ABC's Perry Ruscombe has more.
Trump visiting a McDonald's, wearing an apron, working the fry station.
We got the salt on her.
Trump taking questions of the fast food chain where the average worker makes $13 to $15 an hour, dodging a question on whether he supports raising the minimum wage.
These people work hard. They're great. And I just saw something, a process that's beautiful.
The restaurant was closed to the public.
There'll be no charge. Trump is paying for it. Is that okay?
2024. The Secret Service screening the people Trump served.
Now, as for Vice President Kamala Harris, she hit the campaign trail in Georgia yesterday, attending church services with a pastor from California. And then starting today, she'll spend more time in the battleground states.
She'll be barnstorming some of those key battleground states. She'll be with former Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney. She'll be in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and on Thursday back in Georgia with her first appearance alongside former President Barack Obama. And then she heads back to Michigan for her first event with Michelle Obama. We know those are two of the most popular figures in the Democratic Party.
That's ABC's Mary Ellis Parks. Elon Musk handed out his second $1 million prize for signing on to his petition that supports free speech and the right to bear arms at a town hall in Pennsylvania. Musk was stumping for Donald Trump, just as Trump was crisscrossing Pennsylvania campaigning as well.
Billionaire Elon Musk has endorsed Trump and is spending millions to register voters. In fact, he's pledged to randomly give away $1 million a day for anyone who signs his super PAC's petition. Now, experts tell ABC News that paying people to vote or even to register to vote is a federal crime.
That's ABC's Alex Prescia reporting. The claim that Musk giving away money is illegal, however, is not a proven fact. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro calls the giveaway deeply concerning. The Nolichucky Dam is okay. TVA sent out engineers to that dam after Hurricane Helene to determine if it was damaged by the storm. Construction crews continue to repair an abutment there, but they say there's been no major damage to the structure. Market Numbers Report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. We've got stock futures pointing down this morning. The Dow futures minus 97, the NASDAQ futures down 129, S&P futures are falling 20. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather are next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Couple of problem spots. One is in East Nashville, Ellington Parkway, southbound lanes past Cleveland Street. It's a crash, and the right entrance lane has been blocked. Also, Medical Center Parkway in Murfreesboro. That's a crash. The left turn lane is open. It's Medical Center Parkway westbound right at I-24. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand from 99.7 WTN. If you're thinking about advertising this year in 2025 and beyond, you have to combine the power of radio with the power of digital. We do it here flawlessly, and our sales team can hook you up with a package tailored to your exact needs. So if you want to advertise with me. Advertise with 99.7 WTN. Go to the website for more info, 997wtn.com/epic.
Information fueled,
opinion driven. This is Nashville's Morning News with Dan Mandis.
And so, my fellow Americans,
we talk news.
707 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Somebody sent me this on the Super Text line, which, by the way, is open and very active today. Thank you very much. 615-737-9986. I was talking about Bob Casey, this Democrat out of Pennsylvania. And he's running for re-election and for the Senate. And a lot is being made of the fact that he is not appearing with Kamala Harris on the campaign trail. And I think it goes to show you that there's a lot of Democrats out there who believe that Kamala Harris is going to lose. I think Josh Shapiro is another one. But I want to play this for you. This was CNN over the weekend. They took an excerpt of a commercial for Bob Casey where he actually sides with Donald Trump. Listen to this.
Casey bucked Biden to protect fracking, and he sided with Trump to end NAFTA and put tariffs on China to stop them from cheating. So in this House, we agree. It's Bob Casey who's doing right by Pennsylvania.
I'm Bob Casey, and I definitely approve this message.
I mean, wow. They just named 3 or 4 different things that Donald Trump favors, and Bob Casey, all of a sudden, I'm Bob Casey, and I definitely approve this message. And so CNN, this was on CNN, the anchor asked their political, whoever the heck it is, what all this means.
Yeah, the title of the ad is Independent. 538 shows that Casey voted with Biden 98.5% of the time. What does this attempt in the last few weeks tell us about some of these races?
It means that they are running from Kamala Harris. That's exactly what it means.
I think it goes to show how close some of these Rust Belt races are really going to be in the Senate and for the control of the Senate as well. You know, a lot of these senators running in places like Wisconsin, Ohio, Montana are really running to the middle right now. They want to appear independent. They don't want to be tied to the top of their ticket. They don't want to be tied to Harris or Biden, and they want to show that they can buck their party at times because that's the thing that they think can appeal to moderate Republicans or independents that are going to vote for them in this final stretch. So it's a smart strategy to tie themselves to Trump.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. I would agree that it is a smart strategy to tie themselves to Trump because it's obvious that, and there's a number of different things out there that point to the fact that right now, of course, as you know, Donald Trump has the momentum. There is a story out of the Hill this morning, and then I'm going to get to some other stories. But there is a story out of the Hill, and basically the headline is that in every single battleground state, Donald Trump is winning. And the reason why that is important is because that wasn't the case a couple of months ago. But now he is. And I think that tells you that the Democrats are in trouble. And that is why the Democrat senators and other down ballot races, they are fleeing as quickly as they can the campaign of Kamala Harris. And again, not to belabor the point, but I do believe that is why Josh Shapiro wanted nothing to do with the Harris campaign, because he knew that this was going to be a disaster once the sugar high of the DNC and Oprah Winfrey and the joy and all that other kind of stuff, once that died down, and we called it here on Nashville's Morning News and other places, of course, where once the DNC was over and that sugar high was over, then she would come crashing down to earth, and that is exactly what happened. Now, Donald Trump, this is a very big story this morning. I mean, Fox News is all over it. CNN is on it too, but coming from a different perspective. But I think one of the biggest news stories of the day is Donald Trump working at McDonald's. And this is some audio of the president as he was working the fry counter at McDonald's.
Tight. We got the salt on it. Never touches the human hand.
Very good. Very
nice
good.
And full.
Thank you.
Good.
Yep, and Trump shows up, and the point is, and Ray, who is watching over on the Super Talk TV over on Facebook, he said, I don't care if Kamala Harris worked at McDonald's. And I get that, Ray, I do, and I appreciate you listening. Here's the thing, is that it comes down to honesty. It comes down to honesty, and it comes down to whether or not she's telling the truth, and it comes down to character. And so McDonald's is Donald Trump over the weekend. This is like the most epic troll you'll ever see. Trump, he alleges that there's no truth or no proof that Kamala Harris ever worked at McDonald's. McDonald's themselves even came out and says they have no record of Kamala Harris working at McDonald's. Now, I love the headlines out there. I shared these with you earlier. Trump says without evidence that Harris never worked at McDonald's. Whatever, what is there evidence that is proven that she has worked at McDonald's? There is no evidence. And so my question is, why don't the headlines say Kamala Harris alleges without evidence that she worked at McDonald's, right? And so I keep asking the question. I also asked this question on X. Why can't she simply provide her tax returns from when she was younger and prove that she worked there? Why can't she do that? I mean, that is a very easy solution. And this would be such a great thing. If I was advising Kamala Harris, I'd be like, we got him now. Let's release your tax return. It'll show that you worked at McDonald's, and he'll have egg on his face. Nothing. Not a thing. So that tells me that she never worked at McDonald's. Now, here's the thing. When you look at all of the different times that she could have talked about working at McDonald's, she hasn't. When she was running for DA, when she was running for the Attorney General, when she was running for Senate. She never mentioned that she had worked at McDonald's. She even had a memoir that she put out, and she didn't mention anything about McDonald's. And so the reason why this is important is because Donald Trump caught her in a lie. You got some people on the left that are saying this is just like the whole birther thing with Barack Obama. It's really not. And Lord knows I don't want to go back to that whole birther thing. But what I do want to talk about is the reaction of people as they were driving through the drive-thru and they were being served by Donald Trump.
A lot of fun here, everybody.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Look at all the fake news over there. Hello, everybody.
You can fake this, right?
And you know this is compliments of Trump, okay?
Yes, thank
Okay.
you. Mr. President,
Yes.
please don't let the United States become Brazil, my native Brazil.
We'll keep it
Please,
good.
Please, please.
We're going to make it better than ever, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I love how he's like, okay. Like, I got more customers, man. Got to keep the line moving. Am I the only one that noticed that? I thought that was funny. And in case you didn't catch what the woman was saying, basically she was saying, please don't let America become like her native Brazil. The media covering this has been absolutely ridiculous. I'm going to talk about that and a whole lot more straight ahead. It is 7:15. Time to check the roads on WTN. Thank you very much. Sunny today and a high near 80, 46 degrees now at Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So I have been having fun watching the media as they cover this because they know that they look bad. The media knows that they look bad, that Kamala Harris looks bad, that the Democrat Party looks bad because, honestly, it does look like she has been lying about where she works. And clearly that's going to be a problem for the Democrats moving forward. They already have a problem with the truth. This is ABC News.
With 16 days to go, stopping by McDonald's, pushing unsubstantiated claims that Vice President Kamala Harris lied about working at the fast food chain in college. And Trump not committing to respecting the 2024 election results.
Either way, will you accept the results of the election?
Yeah, sure. If it's a fair election, always. I would always accept it if it's got to be a fair election.
So a couple of things. Number one, you heard the announcer there. And at what point, did they say that Kamala Harris says without evidence that she worked at McDonald's? Because there's more evidence that she did not work at McDonald's than she did. And, of course, this whole nonsense about accepting the election results, I want you to listen to this again.
And Trump not committing to respecting the 2024 election results.
And, of course, Trump says, listen, if it's a free and fair election, of course I'll accept the results.
Either way, will you accept the results of the election?
Yeah, sure. If it's a fair election, always. I would always accept it if it's got to be a fair election.
I mean, to be honest, like, how many different ways can one man answer the same dang question? I mean, they think it's like, how many different times or how many different ways can he answer the question? So the reporters are asking their inane and repetitive questions. And Donald Trump and the people at McDonald's, man, they're just having a great old time.
President Trump! Well, that's a good-looking group. Hello, everybody. Crazy. I'm having a lot of fun here, everybody. Little pictures of it.
Yeah, so here's a couple of more points on the lack of evidence that Kamala Harris worked at McDonald's. She filled out a resume back in 1987 that did not mention working at McDonald's. And again, as I said, she failed to mention working at McDonald's in her memoir. The New York Times has confirmed this via email from a longtime family friend. They asked this family friend if this friend remembers Kamala Harris ever working at McDonald's. The family friend supposedly says via email, however, with no evidence, that Kamala Harris's mother once said that her daughter worked at McDonald's. Sounds convincing, doesn't it? I'm telling you, release the tax returns. It's all you got to do. I, by the way, love that Donald Trump actually wished Kamala Harris a happy birthday.
It's Kamala's birthday?
She's turning
60 years old?
Do you want to say anything?
Yes, I would say happy birthday, Kamala. She's turning 60.
Did you get her some fries?
I think I'll get her some flowers.
Why not to beat her
Maybe
again?
I'll get her some fries. You're right, that might be. I'll give her some McDonald's. I'll get her a McDonald's hamburger.
Thank you.
No, it is her birthday. It is true, right? Happy birthday, Kamala. Happy birthday. See you later. Bye. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, he's got to keep the line moving. That's all I'm saying. He's got to keep the line moving. By the way, outside, and this was in Pennsylvania, outside of this McDonald's, it was like mayhem. I mean, you had, I don't know how many people, had to be a couple thousand people surrounding this particular McDonald's. And how they chose the people that were allowed to go through the drive-thru to get some French fries from Donald Trump. And of course, his quote was that he's now worked at McDonald's 15 minutes longer than Kamala Harris. And hate to say it, but that's true. Here's the deal. It's a troll. It's pretty evident that she never worked at McDonald's. Meantime, you've got Donald Trump over the last couple of days. He's been hanging out at barber shops with Fox News. And earlier, I think it was last night or yesterday over the weekend, he hung out with the Pennsylvania steelworkers. And those Pennsylvania steelworkers, I know this is going to shock no one, they have now come out and endorsed Donald Trump. By the way, did you guys hear what Charlemagne said about Tim Walz?
No.
You want to hear it?
Yeah, of course.
All right. I'll tell you. Coming up.
So not fair.
I know. That's like a professional radio station tease right there. Anyway, it's 7:21, and Joan Jones has the news. Joan, what's coming up?
Well, Dan, we'll tell you who we're being asked this question. Who released the papers, the intelligence papers, on what Israel may do to retaliate against Iran? Also, a little more about President Trump's very busy day in Pennsylvania yesterday. Some things you haven't mentioned, Dan. That's all coming up at 7:30 on Super Talk 99.7.
So ask the question, Joan, who leaked those papers to...
Well, I don't know.
No, you asked me the question.
Okay. Dan, who released those papers?
Oh, I don't know. Biden.
You have a little cough there, something in your throat?
Biden.
Mm-hmm.
Harris. I'm just kidding. I don't know who did it. Wouldn't surprise me, though. Anyway, 7:22 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. Of course, you're going to get a lot of rain in the next couple of weeks. So we've had a lot. And listen, if you end up with water in your crawl space or your basement, that moisture could be an indication that you have waterproofing issues. It also means that you need to call my friends at USS, United Structural Systems. It could be a little problem about to get bigger, or it could be nothing at all. It could be something serious. Bottom line is you've got to call the experts in waterproofing, United Structural Systems. So if you go down into your basement or your crawl space, you see water or moisture, you've got to call my friends at USS. I've been a customer of theirs for years. I can tell you how great they are basically because I've been a customer for a long time. Now, they come out to your home as problem solvers, and of course, their ultimate goal is to give you the peace of mind you need by making sure that you understand what's going on. So if you need waterproofing, call the company that I endorse, USS. They've been keeping homes dry and stable for years. And that's why homeowners trust USS. We guarantee our best. Call USS 615-488-7855, 615-488-7855, online, USSTN.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice. Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Matt Murphy with Super Talk 99.7 WTN. 2024 is coming to a close, and what a great year it was. We are looking forward to an exciting 2025, and we want you to be a part of it. If you're looking for marketing or digital strategy for your business, we want to be on your team. It is a wonderful three-legged stool. You, me, and the listener, and we want to be a part of your family. So join us at 997wtn.com/epic to find out more, and we'll see you in 2025.
Hey, Johnny. Hey, Joan. If you go to the super text line, 1082 has sent us a photo. He says, this way you can put a face to the genius of 1082.
Oh.
Listen, whatever. I'll take it.
What number was that again?
1082. He apparently, Johnny, you and he go way back, 1082.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
How far back?
Way back.
Okay.
That
tells me a lot.
I'm just telling you, man. That's what he says.
Okay.
That's what he says.
I'll take his word for
He
it.
looks a little angry in that photo.
He does. He's got a Daytona T-shirt on.
Yeah.
And, he's sort of doing whatever. So I'm not saying 1082 that you look angry. I think you look great.
I am. Let's have a smile, 1082. Come on now.
All right. Well, whatever. Whatever. Well, we don't encourage pictures unless you want to send a picture. Knock yourself out. I enjoy seeing what the listeners look like. I love to know what the listeners are doing. I mean, up to a point of what they're doing, while they're listening.
Well, that's going to open up a floodgate.
Yeah, maybe one that we don't want open.
Hey, did you hear what Charlemagne said about Tim Walz? Very quickly. This was on that Breakfast Club.
You don't want walls on your yard? No.
Walls got kind of quiet recently.
Good. And stay off the yard, please. Take him to the student center, and that's it.
What Jay-Z said he had a spark when he started, but now he's just garbage.
He's garbage.
I don't think he garbage, you know what I'm saying? But it's just like, I don't see the impact.
He be chilling.
We don't need that right now.
That's
we don't need you chilling.
That's
Walls.
chilling.
Okay, we need you on the front lines, okay? We need a white man that excites other white people. Okay? I don't know if he's that white person that's doing that. Is he?
No.
Oh, okay.
Kamala Harris needs a white man to excite the white people, is what Charlemagne says.
Okay.
Do you know what? Tim Walz excites me. You know why? Because he's not Josh Shapiro.
Yeah.
That's what apparently, while Trump had thousands of people chanting USA, USA at the Steelers game last night, you had Tim Walz having a beer with a Packers fan, I think, in Green Bay. Yeah, Green Bay Packers fan. One beer with one guy. Not feeling the excitement on the other side of the aisle for Tim Walz. And by the way, people also saying, Mandis, do you talk about the McDonald's thing and Kamala Harris and the tax returns. Mandis, do you have your tax returns from 40 years ago? Well, I don't, but most certainly the IRS does. So if the Harris campaign was to go to the IRS and get copies of those tax returns to prove she worked at McDonald's, she certainly could. 7:30 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Dan Mandis here. Get in the fight. We don't have to wait until November to start taking our country back. We can get in the fight right now with Coin, the conservatives' credit card. Instead of funneling millions to the left like other cards, Coin advances conservative values and charities. Earn cash back while fighting back. Apply right now at coin.com. That's COIGN, coin.com. Spelling matters. Terms do apply. Go to coin.com/disclosures for full details. COIGN, coin.com.
Good morning. It's 7:30 now, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We are sitting at 46 degrees now, and we're headed up near 80 today. A little bit warmer around here. The forecast is still to come. The U.S. is investigating a leak of highly classified U.S. intelligence documents.
The documents posted online appear to show classified U.S. intelligence gathering on Israel's preparations for a potential retaliatory strike against Iran, apparently detailing types and numbers of missiles that Israel may be readying.
That's ABC's Tom Sufi Burridge. Now, the documents dated October 15th and 16th began circulating online Friday after being posted on Telegram by an account called Middle East Spectator. A U.S. official said the investigation is examining who had access to the alleged Pentagon documents. Campaign 2024, former President Donald Trump spending the day in Pennsylvania, first serving up hot fries at a Bucks County McDonald's, and then on to Lancaster for a town hall-style event.
We want to keep it too big to rig, you know? It's too big to rig. We got to make it that way.
And he wrapped up the day at the Steelers-Jets game in Pittsburgh last night. He was pretty well received there last night. Vice President Kamala Harris, meantime, is hitting 3 states today that are critical to the Democrats.
Vice President Harris is holding events in the so-called blue wall states, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, 3 battlegrounds that are key to a Democratic victory. She'll be joined by former Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney for a series of conversations, part of an effort to reach out to independents and Republicans and peel them away from former President Donald Trump.
ABC's Karen Travers, Market Numbers Report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. We've got stock futures all pointing down with the Dow futures minus 78 points. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather are ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Second Jones, 7:33 on WTN. You know, working so early in the morning, that first cup of coffee is crucial. So is the second cup. And by the way, for me, I depend on Space Cowboy coffee to get me going every single morning. It's my new favorite, and it really does inspire me to get downstairs and start brewing that first cup and then get to work. Now, this is a great local company based in Nashville, and they've got a lot of fans. And right now, if you use promo code Dan, you're going to get 10% off and free shipping when you order $50 or more. So take it from the coffee snob. Space Cowboy coffee is incredible, and my current favorite is their all-new espresso. Now, they're going to be out at our election night party on the 5th, so help us all get through the night, and they'll help us with some Space Cowboy coffee. Find them online at spacecowboycoffee.com. That's spacecowboycoffee.com. Use promo code Dan. They're a terrific brand, and they're available in K-Cups, whole bean, or ground. Either way, it is the right way to wake up with Space Cowboy coffee.
At the Hermitage, we've got 40 westbound past Central Pike. Slow. In fact, the right shoulder is blocked off by a crash. That's right at exit 221. Again, it's 40 westbound past Central Pike, exit 221A. Also, East Nashville, Ellington Parkway, southbound past Cleveland Street, a crash, and the right entrance lane has been blocked off. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey everybody, Dan Mandis with Nashville's Morning News and Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I was speaking to Dr. Christopher Van Shank the other day at a station event. Now, he's a psychiatrist, and he was telling me about the mental health crisis here in America. And as you know, it's out of control. The COVID lockdowns were an absolute disaster. And Dr. Van Shank, again, he's a psychiatrist. And if you're one of those people, you feel like maybe you need to talk to somebody, I would recommend Dr. Christopher Van Shank. He can help you with addictions, depression, anxiety. He can also help kids with the same thing. He's been doing this for 15 years. He's been helping people, and he is here for you today. So if you want to check out his website is nolensvillepsychiatry.com. That's nolensvillepsychiatry.com. There's a whole list of issues that he can help you with. So check him out. If you feel like he can help you, give him a call. The number is below, and good luck. 7:39, Nashville's Morning News. Hey, coming up at 8:06, we talked to a woman whose daughter was killed, an illegal alien charged with homicide. Local authorities let him out, and he's out committing more crimes. We speak to the mother of Aaliyah Ingram coming up after the news at 8 right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. As you can imagine, she's got some comments to make. Also in the news this morning for your Monday, October 21st, Kamala Harris insulting Christians yet again. Perhaps you saw this on social media over the weekend. You've heard the story. Kamala Harris is out on the campaign trail in Wisconsin. Need some audio, Johnny. And she's going on and on, of course, as she does, about abortion when two pro-lifers started screaming about Jesus.
We remember Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade, and they did as he intended. Oh, you guys are at the wrong rally. No, I think you meant to go to the smaller one down the street.
So everybody gets all excited. Now, here's the funny thing, is that, first of all, when she says Donald Trump handpicked or hand-selected these 3 Supreme Court justices, well, they also had to be confirmed by the Senate. So just so everybody knows, apparently Kamala Harris doesn't know, and the people that were cheering or jeering probably didn't know either, but don't let facts get in the way of a good line. So those 2 pro-life protesters, Luke Pulaski and Grant Beth, they were in the crowd. And you just heard, it's hard to hear, but you heard them say Jesus is Lord and some other things, very pro-life. And they waded into the crowd. And as she's talking about abortion, that was their message back to Kamala Harris. The crowd, by the way, was absolutely brutal, but they did proclaim their religious beliefs and pro-life beliefs, and Harris knew exactly who she was talking to when she invited them to leave. These 2, again, were on Fox News Sunday.
And I think it's important to say this is a small venue, and we were about 20 to 30 yards away from Kamala at this point. There's a lot of controversy that says she wasn't talking to us or we left, we didn't get kicked out. Well, I can speak on Grant and I's behalf. On video, Grant's getting pushed and shoved. There's about 5 seconds after or before she tells us to go to the smaller rally down the street. You can see on the video she waves. She was actually waving to me. I took this cross off my neck that I wear, and as we were getting asked to leave, I held it up in the air and waved at her and pointed to her, and she looked directly in the eye, kind of gave me an evil smirk.
Listen, there's a reason why I believe that this is such a big deal. It's because it is part of a pattern of intolerance towards Christians within this administration. And obviously Kamala Harris is a big part of that. There's an intolerance towards the pro-life movement. You know, one of the things, and I know that there's oftentimes people will say, who cares about this story? Who cares about that story? Who cares about the McDonald story, for example? There's every story, or just about every story, not all of them perhaps, but almost every single story that I present, there's a reason why I'm presenting it. And at least to me, it's important. So let's not forget that you have pro-life protesters being arrested for simply doing what they do, legally protesting abortion, legally handing out pro-life materials. Also remember, Biden's DOJ targeting Catholic churches as radicals with possible ties to far-right nationalist movements. This is part of a pattern. It's not just something that happened at a rally and it's a flash in the pan, a story for social media, and it's gone. No, you have to realize what's going on. So Kamala Harris, her attitude towards these pro-lifers isn't real surprising, along with those in the crowd who also behaved abhorrently. Here's part of what they said.
We were getting shouted at, pushed, assaulted, screamed at. So we were walking away. But there was about 3 attendees there, volunteers, that kicked us out with badges or whatever they had. And I specifically remember this one man saying, "You were uninvited and unwelcome to this event. You need to leave." And all they did was walk us out the door. They didn't tell us why.
So these guys, they paid tuition and at the school where they were. And this was, I guess, like at the gym. By the way, I don't know if you caught earlier in the soundbite. He said that it was a really small crowd, relatively speaking, 2,500 people. That's not a lot of people for a crowd, especially when you look at how Donald Trump's doing, but that's beside the point. He does pay tuition at the university. He is allowed to be there, and this was a free event. And yes, he did make note as to how small of an event it was.
This is in a really small venue. They only said there was about 2,500 people there, which when she told us to go to a smaller rally down the street, I didn't really think that for a political rally there could be smaller than 2,500 people.
Now there's a far, far bigger message here, and I'm going to get into that coming up. It is 7:45 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. Time to check the roads. $7:45 on Nashville's Morning News. Sunny today, a high near 80, and right now 45 degrees at Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So why is this story so important? Why is the story of Kamala Harris basically telling pro-lifers that they've got the wrong rally? You want the smaller one down the street talking about Donald Trump, and the crowd goes wild. Well, first of all, I don't know, has Trump ever had, at least lately, like in the past many years, has he ever had a crowd 2,500 or smaller? I don't think so. That's number one. But number two, this is important because Christians, supposedly, 32 million Christians could stay home this election cycle and not vote. Specifically, not vote for Donald Trump. So when you hear these two speak, these two Christians, these two pro-lifers, and how they were just treated so badly at the Harris rally, remember this is a pattern. It's a pattern from the Biden-Harris administration where you have pro-life protesters being arrested for doing what they do, legally protesting abortion. Remember Biden's DOJ, again, targeting Catholic churches as radicals with possible ties to far-right nationalist movements. This is what the Biden administration did. So I was shocked to see that there's 32 million Christians that some say could be staying home this election cycle and not voting for Donald Trump. And it's surprising because here you have an example after example of the Democrats attacking Christians, attacking Christianity, one way or another, while millions stay home. That is absolutely absurd. Donald Trump, by and large, is pro-life, pro-Israel, pro-tolerance. He's accepting of everyone. While Harris and the Democrats show time and again they are intolerant. And listen, these swing states, if you wonder why this is such a big deal, is because these swing state margins are so incredibly close that every little bit helps. And so it astonishes me that any Christian would want to stay home. I mean, listen, you do you. That's what I always say, right? You do you. But I just don't get it. I feel like if Christians don't get out and vote, then they can't complain when Roe versus Wade ends up, or some form of it, ends up back at the federal level. And they're targeted by the DOJ once again.
This timing, 18 days before the election, is imperative for young Americans and first-time voters like myself to understand this is what you are going to get with a Kamala Harris presidency.
Yep.
You are going to get the Kamala Harris that alienates over 50% of the U.S. population that is Christian. You're going to get the Kamala Harris that skips the Al Smith memorial dinner that no major presidential candidate has skipped since, I believe, Walter Mondale in 1984.
That's exactly right. That's another example. We talked about that last week. where Kamala Harris decided to skip the Al Smith dinner, and a lot of people were horrified at that. Research also revealed some of the reasons they say that the Christians are not planning to vote in November, including a lack of interest in politics at 68%, a dislike in both major party candidates at 57%, and a belief that their vote will not make a difference at 52%. I don't understand that thinking. A smaller percentage, 48%, believe that the election results will be manipulated. But see, that's the point. I mean, if you're worried about the election results being manipulated, that's why Christians and all conservatives have to come out en masse, because we need this election to be steal-proof. So here's what happens. Just to put a button on this, if Christians are listening, I'm a Christian from me to you. Here's what happens if you stay home. Kamala Harris is going to increase support for Iran as they fund terrorism against Israel and America. More liberals on the Supreme Court as Harris gets picks over 4 years, not to mention liberal judges placed in courts all across the country. Down ballot races will also turn Democrat. As I said, Roe versus Wade would end up back at the federal level or something like it. A crackdown on free speech for Christians. And you want your taxpayer dollars to pay for transitioning surgeries and procedures for illegal aliens and criminals? Go ahead, Christians, and stay home if that's what you want to do. But don't come crying to us when Kamala Harris wins and all of those things happen. And that's my fear, as some are predicting 32 million Christians are going to stay home. I hope that doesn't happen. I hope that they come out and they vote en masse. And I hope that they do some research and realize how incredibly important this next election really is. It is 7:51 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. Joan Jones is coming up with the news at 8 o'clock. Joan, what's up?
Why coffee stirring sticks are making a comeback in some polling places around here. Also, an Antioch security guard is thanking his lucky stars and his protective vest. Those stories and more coming up at 8 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. I've been a customer of Xfinity for years because they offer rock-solid internet. And these days, that is really important. Now, you know how many devices most folks have connected to their Wi-Fi? A lot. Now, you know how many I have? Amy and I figured it out. We have 20. We have 20 devices connected to our Wi-Fi. Now, a lot of them keep me connected for work. Same with Amy and Riker's homework and gaming. It's all about being online, and we do that through Xfinity. Next year, we'll probably have even more. And they've engineered their gateways to handle hundreds of connected devices. That's right, hundreds. And right now, through December 22nd, get 150 megabit Xfinity internet for just $35 a month for 12 months with no annual contract. Plus, get free Wi-Fi equipment included. Now, make sure that your home Wi-Fi can handle everything that you throw at it and then some. Switch today, Xfinity. Bring on the good stuff. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra after promo. Regular rates apply. Currently $56 a month. Actual speeds vary. Hey everybody, Dan Mandis with Nashville's Morning News and Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I was speaking to Dr. Christopher Van Shank the other day at a station event. Now, he's a psychiatrist, and he was telling me about the mental health crisis here in America. And as you know, it's out of control. The COVID lockdowns were an absolute disaster. And Dr. Van Shank, again, he's a psychiatrist. And if you're one of those people, you feel like maybe you need to talk to somebody, I would recommend Dr. Christopher Van Shank. He can help you with addictions, depression, anxiety. He can also help kids with the same thing. He's been doing this for 15 years. He's been helping people, and he is here for you today. So if you want to check out his website is nolensvillepsychiatry.com. That's nolensvillepsychiatry.com. There's a whole list of issues that he can help you with. So check him out. If you feel like he can help you, give him a call. The number is below, and good luck.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
$7:56, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Well, the Christians are out in force now on the Super Text line, 615-737-9986. Larry says, Dan, Biden won in 2020 because Christians stayed home. He says, I don't get it. I totally agree. The 6375 says, so I'm gay and very conservative. He says, I think you should talk about how there's a rapidly growing group of conservative gay Americans. He says, I never hear anything about us. We are here supporting our fellow conservatives. Thank you. I didn't know. He says there's several conservative gay groups pro-Trump on Facebook that I'm a part of, and they have thousands of followers. I love it. I don't know what else to say about it other than good. Tell a friend. Tell more than one, as a matter of fact. So one, I guess Christian, or I don't know who it is, but somebody says, why would Christians, 5762, why would a Christian vote for an adulterer? I get it, but you've got to, what is it? Hate the sin, love the sinner? Is that what it is, Johnny? Yes.
Yes, it is.
I know that because people tell me all the time. So I am here to tell you that I understand that, but at the same time, forgiveness is a thing. And if all of his ex-wives have forgiven him, including his current wife, then if they've forgiven him, then why can't you?
One ex-wife even wants to work for his administration.
Really?
Yes.
Which one?
Marla Maples.
Marla wants to work for the...
She has offered to work for his administration. She believes in what he's doing.
She can be like the ex-wife czar. Whatever. Moving on.
The office of no.
Yeah. Any hoodle doodles. Got a lot more straight ahead. It is Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Well, good morning. It's now 8 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We're looking at 46 degrees now, headed to 80 later. Stick around. We've also got traffic in a couple of minutes. Voters can expect to see a flurry of activity in the final days leading up to Election Day, with the presidential candidates increasing their presence in battleground states.
At a campaign photo op at McDonald's, the former president fixated over whether Harris ever worked there, once again hedging on whether he would accept the results of the November election.
It's a fair election, always. I would always accept it.
Billionaire Elon Musk, who is backing Donald Trump, has pledged to give away $1 million a day to people who signed his super PAC's petition, is raising new legal questions. At least one Democratic governor is saying this should be looked into.
That's ABC's Rachel Scott. Kamala Harris makes stops today in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan. In Davidson County, some polling places, like the Hermitage Library, voters can wait for as long as 2 hours to cast their ballots. But now the county is also bringing back coffee stirring sticks to help voters cast their vote that they intended after complaints that using your finger can actually mark the candidate above your favorite candidate. Voter Mary Darden tells Channel 4.
Makes it easy to make the selection without choosing the wrong candidate.
Early voting in Tennessee extends through October 31st. Locally, an apartment building security guard's bulletproof vest gets the credit for saving his life. It happened at the Ivana Collins Creek apartment complex on Bell Road in Antioch overnight. The guard had been checking out a suspicious person in the pavilion area when he was shot. He's being checked out at the hospital, but he is expected to be okay. Police were not able to find the suspect. Public schools in Tennessee on notice about a food recall linked to a possible contamination of listeria. The food in question is produced by Bruce Pack. It makes pre-cooked proteins. And it's not just the schools, but products on grocery store shelves, too, including at Walmart, Trader Joe's, Target, and Kroger. We've been in a dry spell for an extended period, and now a local orchard says your candy apples may be smaller this year. Morning Glory Orchard tells Channel 4 Mother Nature is fickle.
And that's the thing with farming. So we're either praying for rain or praying for the rain to stop, or we're praying for more heat or too much heat.
Or the orchard does not use irrigation, so they are at the mercy of Mother Nature. Market Numbers Report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Stock futures this morning still pointing down a half hour before the opening bell. Dow futures down 50, NASDAQ futures losing 83, and the S&P futures are minus 13. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather are next. Joan Jones, WTN News. got an accident in Laverne this morning. 24 westbound lanes at Old Hickory Boulevard, south exit 62. It's blocking the HOV lane. Also a crash at TSU, Dr. Walter S. Davis Boulevard at Ed Temple Boulevard. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Information fueled,
opinion driven. This is Nashville's Morning News with Dan Mandis.
And so, my fellow Americans,
we talk news.
8:06, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends. It is October 21st. It's a Monday. Johnny B is here. Joan Jones as well. My name is Dan Mandis indeed. Over the weekend, there was a carjacking in Nashville and a chase that ended in Mount Juliet. That led to the arrest of an 18-year-old guy. His name is Eduardo Melendez-Pineda, and another 15-year-old. Now, this guy is said to be an illegal alien from Honduras. Now, police say, listen to this. He walks up to a car, this SUV, fires a shot in the air and then into the SUV. He orders the people out of the car and carjacks these folks and then drives to Mount Juliet. There's a chase. Eventually, they caught him. Now, his mugshot is what caught my attention. You can find it on my Facebook page. Nick Barris also posted it. And it shows this guy. And he's smirking. And you can tell that that smirk is reminiscent of past mugshots that we've seen where it is clear that these guys just don't care. They're smiling and they're smirking. And really what they're doing is they're rubbing salt into the wounds of the victims. It's like they just don't care that they're here illegally, of course, and they're getting away with not only that, but also with breaking our laws. Not only is this guy illegal, but he's also incredibly violent. And he's been in trouble before. Back in November of 2022, a 13-year-old girl named Aaliyah Ingram was hit and killed by a vehicle, dragged down the street, and left to die in 19-degree weather. This same guy, Eduardo Melendez-Pineda, is charged in that crime as well. The mother of Aaliyah, that 13-year-old tragically killed that night back in 2022, is on the phone with us now. Her name is Natalie Chastain. And Natalie, thank you for being with us. I know this is terribly difficult to talk about. What happened 3 days before Thanksgiving back in 2022?
Really, it was just very not normal. Of the situation that happened was really not normal with my daughter. One of her friends asked her to come out of the house at nighttime, which was a girl. And my daughter came out, got in the car, and they left. They were, I guess, supposed to be riding around. She wasn't supposed to have left my house. Well, I wake up the next morning. This is after I've gone to bed. Wake up the next morning, my daughter's not here. Well, frantically, I start searching, and I have all logins to her phone, her social media, things of that nature. And I come across the conversation between one of her and another girl where it showed that she was coming to pick my daughter up. Well, apparently Eduardo was a driver of a vehicle that night, and that car was stolen. Somehow, I do not have the full story because no one has told the truth this whole time, so I really cannot explain to you how my daughter actually died. I just have what the police are trying to piece together to tell me. My daughter was ran over with a stolen car, which the car that she was hit with hit a house. Eduardo tried to pull her out from underneath the car. She was not inside. Obviously, she was outside the vehicle. He was driving. She was stuck underneath the car, so he pulled her as hard as he could, and it dislocated her shoulders. We drug her down a street about a third of a mile, and on the right-hand side of the road, it's a hill that has a creek in it. He decided to drag her and lay her in a creek, but he had pulled her so hard that she came out of her clothes, her shirt, and her jacket that she had on. So she was laying out there with just pants on in water in 18 degrees. So the people of the house that stolen car hit called 911 and stated that they saw someone dragging someone away down the street. Well, the police showed up 10 minutes after that call was made. My daughter's still laying on the side of the road. The police passed her on the way up. They did talk to the people at the house, did their report, towed that car away. My daughter was still laying outside. 3 hours later, somehow my daughter was able to get herself out of the creek and crawl down the hill to the next closest house there was. So she knocked on the door and laid down on the porch after realizing that nobody was going to answer the door for her. She laid down and ultimately died. Now, her injuries, she had a broken nose, 2 broken collarbones. Her shoulder blades were broken. Shoulders were dislocated. All her ribs were broken. Her hip was broken in 3 different places. And that's just those wounds. She had an extreme mental status where she wasn't coherent. She was moving her arms and legs but unable to open her eyes or talk when the paramedics arrived. Well, later on, it took some time, some months before they started piecing together who it was. Well, the first person that came to light, that you can also find this online, was Cesar Martinez.
Yep.
He is a 15-year-old that was involved as well, but he was arrested first. Well, it came out that between him and Eduardo, they are blaming each other for driving that car. So I don't know who was driving. They're not saying how she was ran over, but she was ran over, and they just failed to get her help.
Let me ask you, Natalie. I know this is extraordinarily painful for you to speak about. When Eduardo Melendez Pineda was brought to court, he was charged as an adult for homicide. Yeah. What did he have to say for himself in court?
So, yes, in August, he was brought in to be charged as an adult. When he came into court, he told the DA he wanted to apologize to my family. Well, that apology was, "I'm sorry, but it ain't my fault." Well, whose fault was it?
Wow.
And I found out that after the fact, in August, that when he would be tried as an adult, because it was his first crime as an adult, that he would be eligible for probation. Well, and that's exactly what they gave him. That last court date, they released him on 3 years probation for criminally negligent homicide for killing my daughter.
So he killed your daughter.
Yes.
And he is charged with homicide, but he got probation and 3 years of probation, and that's it? Like, it's over?
Yeah, 3 years. We had to get him to agree to 3 years, though, because they were only trying to offer him 2 years for probation. And just in general, probation should have never been in the cards for this.
Yeah.
This is a slap in the face for him to be able to come back out here and commit another crime that could have possibly killed someone. He shot in the vicinity of these people.
I've got to ask, Natalie, number one, who told you that he was illegal?
The DA.
So the DA or the DA's, was it Glenn Funk or was it the just the DA's office?
The DA's office in Juvenile. It was Lindsey Moreland.
And so they told you that he is an illegal from Honduras and he was charged with homicide and the death of your daughter. They gave him probation for 3 years. And lo and behold, I don't know when you saw the mugshot, but over the weekend, I shared it, some others shared it as well. It must have been quite a shock when you saw his smirking face, like he just didn't have a care in the world, and he knew that he was going to beat this, just like he beat the charges in the death of your daughter.
Yeah, he smiled in almost every court date except for this last one where he needed to seem like he was sad. He even pulled tears in that courtroom, and I don't understand how he did that. But to this day, no one involved got to actually hear all of the injuries my daughter got from this because they gave him a plea deal.
Do you feel like...
So they have no idea.
Do you feel like the DA's office, do you feel like they did right by your daughter?
No, of course not.
No.
If the shoe was on the other foot, nobody would be okay with probation.
Right.
Nobody. Probation for killing your child. Nonetheless, that's my only child. I don't... Literally. Right. And then I've been ignored by the DA's office after the case was closed. I can't get any records of her investigation. So it's been a time. And then to see his face go across Facebook.
Yep.
I told them that he was going to do something. It was a matter of time. Today is 2 months that he's been out. Today.
So you told the DA's office, you told Lindsey Moreland at the DA that he would be back in jail and he would be out committing more crimes, and they just ignored you?
Oh, she even said it herself that he would be back out. He would be locked back up here soon for something he's done, just based off of the things that he has done.
I've got to ask this question. I mean, you got an illegal. He's from Honduras, and he was charged as an adult in the death of your daughter. What happened to immigration? I mean, did they not have any kind of interest in this case?
Well, apparently they did. They did have an interest in the case because we kept having to postpone the last court date because they were needing to make sure Eduardo understood the consequences of immigration because they were already looking for him because of this situation. I was even told that immigration would be picking him up once he was signed over into the adult system. That never happened because here we are.
So I wonder if somebody dropped the ball. They were supposed to pick him up and they didn't, or they were just, providing you with some lip service, or somebody there was a mistake. The bottom line, though, is that somebody could have been killed here over the weekend with this. He clearly doesn't care. I mean, this dude is just shooting off bullets in the air. He's shooting off his gun into an SUV with a couple of people inside as he's carjacking. And, I mean, I wish I could say that I was surprised, but knowing what I know about, the DA's office, this doesn't really surprise me. So they're giving you the runaround. The DA's office is giving you a runaround. They wouldn't even tell you the details of what happened that fateful night or where the investigation lies?
I only get the details that they would like for me to know, if that makes any type of sense.
Oh, it does.
I can ask the same question over and over, and they give me the same answer.
Do you have an idea as to why they wouldn't want to give you all the details?
No, no clue, unless they had just some negligence on their behalf that they don't want to get into. I'm not sure.
All right. Well, Natalie, I really appreciate you giving us your perspective on this, and I just can imagine the shock when you saw his his smirk on Facebook. And I'm going to reach out to the DA's office. Not that they listen to me much, but I'm going to reach out to the DA's office and see if I can try to help you get some answers. And from me to you and the thousands of people listening, man, our hearts go out to you, and we're praying for you and your family. And if I can help in any way, I'm going to try to help at the DA's office. You just let us know, okay?
I greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much.
All righty, and appreciate you. It's 8:20 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So a couple of things. Number one is you've got a mom here whose daughter was killed, and an illegal alien from Honduras was charged. And he was charged as an adult, and they gave him probation 3 years. And so he's not facing literally any consequences for his involvement in the death of Ali Ingram. Like, not any ramifications whatsoever. And his ass got to stay in this country.
And that's why he's smirking.
Because he got away with it. And then I would have to ask the DA, Glenn Funk, who I know darn right well, they listen to WTN because every time we say his name and we say it in a negative way, then we get a call from his office. So, because what they do is they record the radio station, and every time his name comes up, they call us. So Glenn Funk owes us an explanation. So why don't y'all at the DA's office give us a call here at WTN and let us know why the hell this guy, number one, was still in the country, and number two, how could you let this monster out on parole? How could you do that, or probation? How could you do that?
And it's been going on way too long. And in fact, just this morning, we've had over 1,700 illegal crossings just this morning.
And here's the thing. It isn't just the illegal aliens. I mean, we see this happening in cities, including here in Nashville and Memphis all the time, where these criminals do these things. And they get away with it, and they don't send them to jail. It's the same soft on crime policies that we see over and over and over again. And it is so infuriating. I can't imagine what Natalie's weekend was like when she goes on Facebook and she sees that smirking face of the guy that was charged in the death of her daughter, who didn't spend any time in jail. It's sad. And I wish I could say that I was stunned. So I would love to know from the DA's office. Maybe they'll call me back. You guys have my phone number. You've called it enough times, and let me know what your side of the story is, and why is it that Natalie can't get the details on exactly what happened that horrific night? She deserves to know. And if maybe they're trying to cover something up, I have no idea. I don't know. But man, my heart just breaks for Natalie and all the people that are out there who go through this, whose loved ones are killed by criminals, illegal aliens or otherwise, and they don't get justice. And then some innocent people in Nashville get carjacked by the same guy who's shooting his gun inside the SUV and threatening people. I mean, let me ask you this from the DA's office. Who's looking out for the good guys? Who's looking out for Natalie Chastain? Who's looking out for the future victims of these guys who come over here, they break our immigration laws, and then they commit crime after crime after crime until somebody gets killed? Oh, well, look, and then somebody gets killed and they still get out. It's horrifying. It is absolutely horrifying. And again, I got to make sure that I say this because it is true. It's not just the illegals. It's all these soft on crime policies, people that live here, people that come here from other countries. It is horrifying. And it just seems like there's nobody looking out for people like Natalie and people like the folks that were carjacked, future victims of these bad guys. We see it over and over again. 8:24 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The Super Text line is open, 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. Joan Jones, what's coming up in the news?
Well, Dan, CBS finally responding after claims that it deceptively edited its Kamala Harris interview. We'll tell you what they have to say. Also, the Biltmore estate reveals whether it'll be ready for Christmas this year after damages from Hurricane Helene. All that at 8:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you very much, Joe. At 8:25, Nashville's Morning News. Dan Mandis here. Now is the time to call Cove Generators. And right now, they're offering you a free 7-year warranty. Friends, that is over $1,000 value. So if you've ever wanted a backup home standby generator, now is the time to do it. Plus, great financing options as well. They're now available. Now, they are your premier Generac home standby generator dealer here in the state of Tennessee. So be prepared for the next power outage and call Cove Generators and never lose power again. Listen, if you want a backup home standby generator, you've got to call my friends at Cove Generator and take advantage of that great deal, that free 7-year warranty, over $1,000 value. Tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out at 931-559-3311. My buddy Generator Dave and the entire team at Cove Generators, they are there to answer all your questions about how to keep the power on when outages happen. Call them anytime, 931-559-3311. Cove Generators can also service your Generac automatic standby generator or any brand of generator that you own. 931-559-3311, covegenerators.com.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
You know, when the real estate market slows down, Mark Spain Real Estate can really help you out with the guaranteed offer. Now, with that guaranteed offer, there's no showings, no open houses, and no stress. It is absolutely hassle-free. I know that fall can be a busy time, and trying to sell your home can be overwhelming. With the guaranteed offer, you'll be on the market, get an all-cash offer, and close within days. And the best part, no stress. Now, one of their clients, Walker, said we had to move fast, and we were worried the process would take too long and we'd have to spend a lot of money on repairs. Mark Spain gave us an offer in 3 days for over our asking price. They've got over 12,500 five-star reviews, and you can trust Mark Spain to sell your home fast and for the most money. Call them, 855-299-SOLD. Find them online, markspain.com. That's markspain.com to find out what your guaranteed offer would be on your home today and start packing.
Good morning, 8:31 now, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. CBS has released a statement over the weekend confirming that, yes, it did edit the 60 Minutes interview with Kamala Harris to change her answer to a question. But the network says it wasn't deceitful. CBS says it was the same answer given to the question, just a different section of the answer. The Trump campaign has responded, saying 60 Minutes has just admitted to doing exactly what President Trump accused them of doing. Their statement is not a denial, it's an admission. Trump continues to demand the full transcript to be released. In Memphis, a woman running alongside others at a breast cancer walk was shot and killed. Police say a car pulled up alongside her. The driver shot twice. Police tracked down the car after a high-speed chase and arrested a 26-year-old man. He was described as the woman's former boyfriend. He's been charged with murder and for attempting to run down a police officer with his car. In Texas, a helicopter crashed into a communications tower, killing 4 people on board, including a child. This man saw the tower come down.
It looked like a crane or like a radio tower. It looked like it was hit, and it got bright orange, like it flamed, and it just crumbled down.
The crash happened near Houston. Biltmore Estate announcing its plans to reopen November 2nd. The historic site closed to repair flooding damages following Hurricane Helene. Many of the roads were also considered impassable. Well, it means that Christmas at the Biltmore is still on, featuring the estate covered in Christmas decorations from wreaths to garlands and thousands of ornaments. Moments after the opening bell, stocks are down. Dow Jones Industrials minus 15 points. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 8:33, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk. Listen, if you've ever wanted to live by the lake, I've got a great opportunity for you. It's coming up quick. Tennessee National, a highly anticipated lakefront resort, golf, and marina community, is having a fall sales event, releasing a limited number of lake lots to the public with upgrades and savings one day only on Saturday, October 26th. This is going to be huge. Now, speaking of those upgrades, think about a lake townhome upgrade, outdoor living space upgrades as well. Plus, you're going to get 2 years free boat rentals plus 2 years of free social membership. Home site and golf savings as well. You can get $10,000 off of golf memberships plus 50% off a brand new golf cart. This is a great opportunity for you. It's a great waterfront resort. Check them out online. It is TennesseeNational.com. Play on the lake or simply relax at the waterfront restaurant. It is just over 20 minutes from Knoxville, Tennessee. Financing is available. Call them to secure your private tour. Remember, times are always limited. So check them out online. Remember, this is going to be on Saturday, October 26th. TennesseeNational.com. Better yet, call them 865-408-9992. 865-408-9992. Hey everybody, Dan Mandis with Nashville's Morning News and Super Talk 89.7 WTN. I was speaking to Dr. Christopher Van Shank the other day at a station event. Now, he's a psychiatrist, and he was telling me about the mental health crisis here in America. And as you know, it's out of control. The COVID lockdowns were an absolute disaster. And Dr. Van Shank, again, he's a psychiatrist. And if you're one of those people, you feel like maybe you need to talk to somebody, I would recommend Dr. Christopher Van Shank. He can help you with addictions, depression, anxiety. He can also help kids with the same thing. He's been doing this for 15 years. He's been helping people, and he is here for you today. So if you want to check out his website is nolensvillepsychiatry.com. That's nolensvillepsychiatry.com. There's a whole list of issues that he can help you with. So check him out. If you feel like he can help you, give him a call. The number is below, and good luck.
Got a couple of accidents here in Donaldson, Briley Parkway southbound before Lebanon, exit 8. The crash there blocking the right lane. The right shoulder is blocked off on 24 westbound at Briley Parkway by an accident. And then on 65 northbound at Wedgwood Avenue, exit 81, a crash also reported. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
You know, I was thinking that when they make my bobbleheads for November 5th, it could double as a flashlight.
Are they doing that for sure?
I mean, how cool would that be? Because, yeah, I got the shine on my head.
Yeah. The shining beacon of truth.
So it could double as a bobblehead flashlight. I love it.
I'm a big fan of the new Open the Amigos segment mid-conversation.
I was just saying, I get really excited about stuff. And
yes, you do.
Nobody ever, matches my big hype.
I'm trying to match your big hype.
You've got like medium hype.
I have medium hype today. The hype is mid.
It is Monday after all.
Listen, y'all have to keep up with my enthusiasm. Come on, man. You know, I got on the air today at 5. I don't know, Johnny and Joan, if you noticed it. I was actually kind of like awake.
I was going to say, you have the big hype energy because you didn't have to do red eye.
That's exactly
overnight.
right. I didn't have to do red eye. It was like, this feels actually kind of weird. I'm home at 1 o'clock in the morning. Somebody is asking on the super text line of 4927. So I had to ask Chris, because I don't pay attention to such things anymore. So how do you get tickets? You show up to the event, right?
Show up and show out. That's what we're requesting.
Show out?
Show out. Yeah,
what does that mean?
Dress up nice. Dress up nice. Look good.
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure show out doesn't mean like take your clothes off.
No.
It's keep your clothes on. That's
please.
Why would your mind go there?
I don't know, Joan.
You got a lot of sleep last night, Joan.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. I got a lot of sleep.
He's got a lot of energy today.
You know, as I was reading about the what was the movie with John Belushi, Toga?
Animal House.
Animal House.
Yeah.
I was reading about the filming of that scene, Animal House, over the weekend, and they the debauchery that you saw in that scene, it was in real life. Like that's how much fun they had.
So hard to
filming
believe.
That scene.
So hard to believe with John Belushi.
It is, isn't it? I'm sure that he led the party. So anyway, no, they're not making me a bobblehead. They should.
I've lobbied for it behind the scenes.
Have you?
I have.
You know, I think what we need Murphy and Brian to all lobby for. You know, each guy needs to lobby on the air for their own bobbleheads. Really? It'd just be me lobbying for the bobblehead? Okay, fine.
Sounds
Heck
like
with
it.
it, man. You know what? What do you got for this segment, Smarty Pants? Zzz?
Pantses?
Yeah. Hey, how'd you like Donald Trump out there at McDonald's? Now, here's what's interesting. Seriously, I've had mixed reaction. Like, people are like, who cares if Kamala Harris never worked at McDonald's? I love you people, but you're not seeing the bigger point. The bigger point, it's about credibility. It's about telling the truth. And you know what? There is such a thing as stolen valor. And if you spent years slinging fries and flipping burgers at McDonald's, and now here comes Kamala Harris saying, oh, I did that, and she never did.
You can't let that slide. You can't let that slide.
You didn't serve.
You didn't serve Kamala.
Wait, hold on. You didn't serve French fries. I gotta laugh out of Joan.
It was a good one.
Every day now.
The pause. You know, it
I'm
was
trying
the pause.
to. Every day now, my mission is to get a laugh out of Joan and not a groan, because there have been a lot of groans. And not a lot of laughs.
The best was the spit laugh that we got last week.
The spit laugh?
That was hilarious.
I don't remember what happened at the spit laugh.
It was someone saying that you resembled Joe Rogan.
Right.
Oh,
it was the man boobs segment.
Yes, the boobs.
Yeah.
I think she had just taken a drink of coffee or something.
Mm-hmm.
Spit all over the board.
That's all right. What did I tell you walking out the door, Chris?
I don't know. I don't
You don't remember what I
recall.
said walking out the door?
No, what'd you say?
I said, as you get, Johnny can attest to this.
Oh, yes, this is a second ago. I thought you were talking about Friday.
No, as you get older, it's like your bladder shrinks.
It does.
Because like Johnny and I, it's like every damn segment we have to go to the bathroom.
That's right.
Is that like an age thing?
I think it is.
Is it an age? So see what you have to look forward to,
I
young'un?
walk into the studio every day at 8:30 and I say, hey, Dan, what's up? He goes, be right back.
Can I just give you a hint?
Yes.
It's your prostate.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Well, that was a fun kill.
Well, it was. That was dun, 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 dun.
I also don't know what to say about that.
I feel like we ought to be doing a commercial.
You know what? It's
for Procter & Gamble.
So just so we're clear, Joan.
Yes.
I don't think it's my prostate. Everything else seems to be working just fine. I think that
It has nothing to do with that.
No, I'm saying I feel great. All I'm saying, I drink a lot of coffee and tea.
And a lot of throat coat. The slippery elm.
Did you drink a lot of coffee and throat coat before you were old?
Oh.
You didn't go to the bathroom that much before. I'm just saying.
It's that old slippery elm, Dan.
Fact check. Fact checking.
You know, all my bathroom trips are brought to you by Space Cowboy Coffee. Sales is gonna want to start sponsoring my quarterly trips to the bathroom, as in like every 15 minutes.
This Mandis bathroom visit is brought to you by.
Oh, listen, they'll sponsor anything, man. That's why we love them.
Yeah, we do.
What do you got, Chris?
Well, I feel like you're burying the lead. Like, yeah, the McDonald's thing was nice, but The Undertaker endorsed Donald Trump over the weekend.
The Undertaker? Who's
all
that?
right.
The Undertaker.
Nice.
Yeah.
You didn't miss that? You missed that. You don't know who The Undertaker is?
No.
Dan, you don't know who The Undertaker is?
Oh, man.
Even I know who the Undertaker is.
I know who the Undertaker is.
Yeah.
Would somebody like to tell me?
The WWF wrestler.
Oh. Okay, that's exciting.
I was pumped.
Come on.
He was sitting next to Glenn Jacobs, the mayor of Knox County.
Okay, that's cool. The Undertaker. He
And
endorsed
The
Donald
Undertaker
Trump.
and Kane.
That's very exciting.
And they dissed another wrestler who's endorsing Kamala.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't imagine a wrestler.
The caption said, "Don't be like Dave Bautista," and then in parentheses said, "Not in the Hall of Fame." And vote for Kamala.
See, that's very funny, actually. And you know what? I can't imagine a wrestler actually endorsing Kamala Harris. I don't understand that.
No. There's actually a wrestler on the indie circuit who is a liberal, and that's his character. He's a liberal and he's a heel. He's a bad guy.
Yeah.
And people hate the guy.
Wussy wrestlers for Harris. Maybe they can have a Zoom call.
The WFH.
Yeah, you know what? I had a bunch of people again saying, "Who cares that Kamala didn't, work at McDonald's?" I want to know, why is it? Because the media has been saying, Donald Trump, without evidence, is saying that Kamala Harris never worked at McDonald's, and they really need to say that Kamala Harris, without evidence, is saying she worked at McDonald's, because there is none.
And didn't McDonald's release a statement on her 60th birthday saying, "We don't have the records to prove that she worked here"?
That's exactly right. They have no records.
Was it the most epic troll job of all time, though, to do it on her birthday?
Yes.
It was just brilliant.
He should have got like one of those hot apple pies and stuck a candle in it.
Oh,
and
that would have been awesome.
This is for you.
Missed opportunity.
Missed opportunity, or like one of those epically awesome hot fudge sundaes.
Have you seen the memes coming out of this? One of them said, if Donald Trump can fix the ice cream machine, this election's over.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you'll notice Kamala Harris, one of the things that she said she said she worked on the fries and the ice cream. And so, any coincidence that the ice cream machine never works? I think it's got the Kamala curse.
Oh.
That's exactly what it is.
Interesting.
I just wish that he would have brought RFK in at some point to say, we need to get beef tallow back in these fryers as opposed to these seed oils.
I saw that too. Over the weekend, people were calling for that.
Yeah. How funny would it be if RFK went in there and just started flipping burgers just for the heck of it? Oh, my goodness. That would be so funny. But the pandemonium outside tells you a lot about Donald Trump and his connection. And today he's in with the barbershop again. I mean, how many barbershops are there that he's going to go to? But I think it's great.
All of them.
That's exactly right.
He's going to go to all of them. But outside of Philadelphia, I mean, it was just slammed. The streets were lined. It was insane.
Who did you say was there? Tippy?
Oh, that was in
Tippy,
Detroit.
Tippy?
It wasn't Tippy Tippy. It was Trick Trick.
Trick Trick.
Trick Trick was out in Detroit.
Joan, you know who Trick Trick is, right?
I do not.
Johnny, you know who Trick Trick is?
I have no idea.
Trick Trick endorsed Donald J. Trump in Detroit. It's actually a big deal in Detroit. And I lived there in 2013 and 2014. And while I was there was Rick Ross. Do you guys know Rick Ross?
Yes.
He's another rapper. He came to town for a rap stations concert. And Trick Trick said, "You didn't check in with me. You need to get back on the bus." And they didn't let him perform. This is Trick Trick.
Wow.
And so a couple months back, we were doing a Turning Point event in Detroit with Donald Trump, and I made the inside joke, have we checked in with Trick Trick? And it became this running gag at Turning Point. So then over the weekend when I saw Trick Trick was out in Detroit endorsing Donald Trump, I sent it to everyone at Turning Point. I said, I feel like we made this happen.
That is so crazy.
I feel like that was us.
Now, have you guys heard the latest? I guess this is coming from the left. I heard this from a family member over the weekend who was trying to tell me this is why the FEMA funds ran out.
Mm-hmm.
They're blaming the wall.
Oh,
the wall?
Seriously?
Yeah, that FEMA funds were used to erect the wall during Trump's administration. That's why.
I was going to say, you mean the wall that they're building around Ukraine?
I thought, boy, that's a new one.
The wall.
The wall.
The wall, thanks Paul Ryan,
yes,
didn't get nearly as much built as we wanted. And then, of course, COVID hit and pretty much everything stopped. And then Biden and Harris took over, and Biden stopped. Not only did Joe Biden stop construction of the wall, but he also sold off some of it for parts.
Exactly.
It blows my mind, though, that it was $8 billion, right, was what the original ask was. It might even be less than that, but that was too much money. Oh, how can we afford that? And now it's like $100 billion a year in New York alone for illegal aliens.
Oh, it's insanity. It is absolute insanity. So, by the way, Trick.
Yeah.
Do they call him Trick Squared?
They don't.
Just
they
maybe friends?
They'll call him Tricky.
Tricky?
Yeah.
Okay. I like Trick Squared. We next time you talk to Trick, can you call him
dad joke-ish?
I'll send him a DM.
Send him a DM. Send him a Dan message.
I will.
We are so dumb.
Hey, just wanted to let you know, this guy that uses the bathroom all the time in Nashville thinks you should start going by Trick Squared.
See what he says. By the way, people are 75-89. There's no way Dan Mandis does not know who The Undertaker is. And if he knows who Batista is, then he has to know who The Undertaker is. Come on, people.
Did you know who Batista is?
No, I didn't know who Batista is.
All right. He's a loser.
Oh, all right.
That's all you need to know.
Wrestling is not real.
It's real to me, damn it.
I live in
You're
real life.
You're kidding me. It isn't?
I love it. I think
birds and wrestling are real.
The birds are fake. Wrestling is real.
Got it.
Here's the thing. Wrestling is like it's the perfect summary of life, and it is exactly what politics is. They show us on screen something that's happening, but there's actually a lot more going on behind the scenes. It's poetry, Dan.
You know, when my kid,
it's poetry.
My
Poetry.
son,
Just like
who's
the
now-
music of Tick Tick.
Trick, Dan.
Sorry. What are you saying, Joan? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Joan.
So my son, when he was young, used to love get these videos from one of the neighborhood kids, and he'd watch the video, the wrestler. So I was like, it's wrestling, whatever. I let him watch it. Only to realize that, like, at the end of those wrestling videos was like the women wrestling each other in very skimpy outfits.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
The 90s was a wild time.
Oh, yeah.
Hashtag trendsetter, baby.
Yes, sir.
Hey, am I the only one that used to, really enjoy watching women's roller derby?
Oh, I used to watch it all the time.
Johnny? Women's roller derby?
No, I was more of a volleyball guy.
You know what? That too. Moving right along. 8:53 on WTN. Joan, what's coming up?
The Supreme Court makes a ruling on a Michael Cohen case this morning and what to expect for Halloween candy this year. Those stories 9 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. 8:53, Nashville's Morning News. Friends, if you have a piece of land or a plot of land that you don't know what to do with, think about a pole barn from my friends at Stoltzco. They are the premier pole barn builders here in the state of Tennessee. You know that putting up a pole barn from Stoltzco could increase the value of your land big time. You can use it as a garage, an event space, an equestrian building. You can just live in it. Now, we call them barn dominiums. Here's the thing. Pole barns from Stoltzco, they are flexible and they're built really well. And you can also plan ahead and build your retirement home. So call these folks at Stoltzco. Tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out, 615-622-5992 for Stoltzco. You can also find them on the socials, Instagram and Facebook. You can see all of their amazing work. Also at their website, stoltzco.com. STOLTZCO, Stoltzco.com, 615-622-5992 for Stoltzco. 8:57, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. We get messages.
We sure do. John in Lawrenceburg has got a new nickname for you.
Yeah.
At first, he thought Dan Trick Mandis.
Yep.
But then after the Space Cowboy rant, he said Dan Trickle Mandis.
Trickle. Hate to say it, but the show's over. I think I got to go trickle. Anyway.
You know what you need to do is go home and watch some Undertaker matches.
Yes, I will do that as well, and a whole lot more. Chris Hand is up next. We'll see you tomorrow.